Here we go. Everyone ready?
I'm ready.
Yes. Due to the adult subject matter of the following program, some listeners may find the content offensive, outrageous, or unsuitable. You know, like religious freaks, uptight losers, or little wussy mama's boys. Please listen responsibly.
You're listening to The Vocal Minority with Nick Reynolds and Steve Harness.
Hot. How much time?
You're hot.
I love scotch. I love scotch. Scotchy, scotch, scotch. Here it goes down into my belly. That is good.
You're on the air.
How are you? You look awfully nice tonight. Maybe don't wear a bra next time. How much time till we're on? What?
We're on the air right now.
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
I think we're as ready as we're going to get. It's the Vocal Minority on Halloweeny, everybody. And it is October 31 that we record the program of number, how do you say 10 in Spanish?
Yes.
Diez, everybody.
Thanks, Steve.
Oh, you're welcome. I was going to say, we probably shouldn't talk about Halloween because this, by the time it's posted, it's not going to be Halloween anymore. But hey,
Well,
happy Halloween, everyone.
hey, dude, let me tell you that we
can
got to
talk
talk
about
about
Christmas, too.
Halloween. We got to talk about it, or everyone will just think that Brewski has joined a biker club down in Florida if we don't address that it's Halloween.
Well, this is a podcast. We could just leave his outfit alone.
Absolutely.
But
That is
no,
true.
I don't see why we would do that. Yeah, okay. Happy Halloween, even though you're listening to this in November. That's fine. And yeah, we're here to, I don't know.
Steve's already starting the show out crappy, dude. Why are we starting this way, you bastard?
I'm having a terrible day, so.
You are having a terrible day, which we'll get into. But first, let's let people know how they can find the program. You can go to our webpage, thevocalminority.net. You can find everything right there, and you can also communicate through the website, which, what do we like to say here, Brewski, at the Vocal Minority?
Use your telephone as a microphone.
Mhm.
And in this case, you can use your keyboard as a microphone. We started this program before the internet was a big thing, ladies and gentlemen.
We literally did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, ironically, if you're listening to this, I guess you know how to find us to some extent, so congratulations to you. But yeah, you know, we continue to slowly grow the show, and we're all over the social media stuff, and that's where we're obviously getting the most traffic as far as all the clips we're sharing and whatnot. And I got to say, last week on the show, we were talking about setting a new TikTok record for our little page of 4,000 views. Somehow we just passed 7,000 on that same little video about Chick-fil-A.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
So that's something. I got to tell you, it hit 6 a couple days ago, and I told Nick, like, I don't think it's going to hit 7,000, but hey, it hit 6,000, so that's something.
Well,
and, but yeah, now it hit 7,000, and people are pissed off at us. I don't.
Well, you know, just so you know, I was on my BM Twitter ID,
Yes.
Twitter handle, and I did a search for what was trending about Chick-fil-A, and I purposely went into stories about Chick-fil-A, found people who had problems with those of us who don't like Chick-fil-A. And I basically said to everybody, hey, we talked about this on the Vocal Minority, and I connected our TikTok video to each one of the posts, and I argued a little bit with some Chick-fil-A defenders. And,
You did live, like just keyboard warriors, or what?
Yeah, we went at it, and
Nice.
yeah, exactly. So I'm out there doing that sort of thing too. I don't know if that contributed at all to anyone watching the video, but I'm putting out TikTok videos out there through the Brewski VM at twitter.com.
Fantastic, dude.
Very nice.
Fantastic. I like that. Yeah, I'm
pretty
sure
much.
you contributed, dude.
It just keeps trickling in, and people keep getting pissed off, and they keep saying that they're going to eat there even more because of us. So I really think Chick-fil-A owes us some sort of percentage. I mean, I don't know.
We don't want your dirty money, Chick-fil-A, unless it's over $1,000 a week.
Well, I'm not giving you my money, but if Chick-fil-A wants to give me their money, then that's okay.
Oh, yeah. As long as we donate like 5% of it to a great charity that's harmed by Chick-fil-A, I'm going to do that. You don't have to do it. But Steve's in a bad mood today.
I'm a great charity you can donate to, Chick-fil-A.
Well, you know what they can do is that they can commit themselves to a yearly advertising campaign on the great KRLT, and I think that would be a wonderful way to start.
I think so too. Brewski's full of good ideas today.
You know,
It must be that vest you're wearing.
I always, we'll address the vest in 2 seconds, but I always, I have to, defend radio advertising all the time. And I always say to people that advertise on social media, like when you advertise on social media, you open yourself up to the comment section and people ridicule you. Some love you, some hate you. But I always say, like, could you imagine if I played your radio commercial and then I came on after the commercial? I'm like, hey, here's 3 phone calls from people that think you suck and they hate your product. Like,
Yeah.
it's such a contradiction in social media advertising that you allow people to just rip the shit out of you, and you're paying for the privilege. You're running these ads. So
A lot of the time, it's people who don't even really give a crap. They just love to argue on the internet. There are those people who love to just jump on and argue about anything on the internet. And
yes.
so many times they'll be like, is that the hill you're going to die on? And they're like, no, I'm going to go out and grab a beer. Like, they just like to fight on the internet. They don't give a shit.
Yes, it is the new vocal minority out there, the people that now have that. It was use your telephone as a microphone. Now it's use your keyboard as a microphone, and people spout off in the comment section. And we've got some new ones to read and whatnot. But, yeah, I mean, you could post a picture of a puppy, and someone would be like, what, you fucking hate cats? I mean, you can't win. You really can't win out there. And I guess it's part of the fun, but it's really frustrating, too. So
Yeah. You gotta let the you gotta let the comments go. I think that's just how to survive on the internet. Let them go.
I don't know. I argued for years in the comment sections, and it just aged me poorly. And
I remember when Trump first got elected. You know how much of my life I spent arguing on the internet to people who didn't change a single freaking view.
Of course not.
I learned that it aged me quickly, and I had to stop arguing on the internet.
Yeah. Have you ever had someone reply like, hey, that's a good point. You've just changed my mind.
Right. I've never had that, dude. I've never had that. It's
never.
Curious.
I will tell you real quick, and then we'll talk about Brewski's attire for the day. One time, and this is in Radio Land when people could call the radio station. This was back in the Seattle days of the Good Time Oldies, Nick. I had gone off on some woman about religion, that it's a book of fairy tales. They're brainwashing you into what they feel are the correct values to push down your throat. And apparently some people have to be threatened with hell to do the right thing. They can't just do the right thing. They need this book of fairy tales to tell them. And I went off on this woman, and she was heavily religious. That's why we got in this debate. And then one night, months later, this lady calls me in the middle of the night at the station and says, I've been thinking about what you've been saying, and it's true. Like, I renounced my religion. I just have a whole new perspective. I was like, wow, like it actually worked on someone finally. Like, wow. And for her to call it admit, like, you opened my eyes. I was wrong. I look at everything differently now. Like, that's happened once, and it'll probably never happen again.
And at the same time, she renounced her religion, dude. You're one step closer to a fiery hell.
That's right, Pope. Take that. One less membership, one less like on your Twitter page.
She's back, dude. Things have gotten bad enough after the last 4 years that a lot of people are back.
Well, where was God for all that, right?
Yeah, I need some hope in something.
Listen, I rip on religion a lot. If you need it for something to believe in, like a lot of people do, that's fine. But just don't push it on me, and don't push your morality on other people. That's where I get pissed off. So
thanks, Steve.
You're welcome.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Speaking of pushing awkwardness on other people, Brewski, for those watching on YouTube or social media clips, what the hell are you wearing today? Nick, you want to describe him?
Yes, I would love to do that, dude. Brewski, first of all, I think Brewski's around 6'1", 6'2". He's a 51-year-old man. Are you 62 or 6'2"?
No, I'm 6 feet tall.
6 feet tall. All right. He's a 51-year-old man. He does have his hair slicked back today with horn-rimmed Buddy Holly-esque glasses on. He's got a black T-shirt that, maybe, is it a muscle shirt? Because I don't see sleeves.
Nope, it is. Oh, yeah.
It's a black muscle shirt to prominently show off his Bison Brewski tattoo on his right bicep. And then he's wearing what appears to be kind of an olive poop brownish vest with black leather around the sleeves. I mean, it's a very fine
He's wearing
vest.
a leather vest. I think that's the main point here.
Turn around, Brewski. On the back now, it's got it's got a skull between two angel wings, and then it says Warriors on the tongue.
So he's dressed as the Warriors. Do you not know the reference, Nick?
Is it WWF?
No.
No. It's
No,
Brewski,
I don't.
explain yourself, goddammit. Who are the Warriors, and why do you have such an affinity for them? Because it's not the first time it's come up.
The
Online or on the show.
the Warriors are that crew from CI, from Coney Island, who are in a movie called The Warriors from 1979, and they went to a big conclave up in the Bronx, and Cyrus, the head of the Gramercy Riffs, was going to bring all the gangs together to take over the city. But then a gentleman from the Rogues, which is the gang from Hell's Kitchen, decided that Luther was his name, and he shot and killed Cyrus and blamed the Warriors.
Right.
And then the Warriors have to get themselves back to Coney Island, which if you're in the Bronx and you're going to Coney Island on the subway, that's a long trip.
Okay, making the movie
Detailed
dramatic.
No
From
spoilers, Brewski.
1979, it is a movie called The Warriors, and Brewski somehow found a costume.
Cult
Not
classic.
at CVS, not at Walgreens. Where'd you find that?
That's
son
a
of
great
bitch?
question, actually. Where did you make that?
No, I did not.
eBay?
eBay. I bought it on eBay.
On eBay. Wow.
Yeah,
So
and
someone
actually-
made that thing. That's not mass produced, right?
No. The person I bought this from, they had at least 15 that they were selling, and I got one of the last ones that they had of this particular size.
Wow.
And I actually have a large collection of Warriors art that I bought on Etsy. Just different people making different pieces of art dedicated to the movie, and it's a
I gotta
popular
tell you,
movie.
I saw this movie like in the 80s, probably. I haven't seen it since, and it never stuck with me that well. But it's really affected your life, hasn't it? Bruce?
Well,
In a positive way.
so-
What's the thing about the story that it's just a well done movie? Is something about the story you like? What is it?
Well, I mean, I was 8 when it came out, and it was a big deal. Everybody where I grew up loved that movie, and
Coast kind of thing. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, and but then the other thing too is that it's always kind of been really kind of a, like you said, a cult classic, very popular, and I mean it sticks. I mean, some of the artists I bought art from are young people, so it's stuck with them.
Young
And
people are watching the movie. It's been through generations of people.
So-
Brewski finds it fascinating, and I got to tell you that I would love just for a 30-minute tour to crawl around in your mind for about 30 minutes, dude, and just see what does the attic of Brewski's mind look like? What is the basement? We've seen the main floor, right? The kitchen, the bedrooms, all that stuff. I'd love to go to the attic. I'd love to go to the basement and see what's floating there.
Like that movie Inception. The deeper you go, the harder it is to ever get back out again. So I don't know how many layers down.
Yes.
So this is how deep I go with this movie. So the year that I went and I got Nick that autograph from Tony Danza,
Yes.
that very
Extravaganza.
same day, I went to this convention where they had the entire cast of the Warriors there, and I got pictures with them. And then I had bought the VIP ticket, which they had a screening of the movie and a question and answer session afterwards too.
Wow.
See, dude, this is what I'm talking about. You know what? Like, I lay down sometimes at night excited for the next day. Like, maybe I'm doing something fun or I'm going to see someone I haven't seen for a while. And I have those moments. I lay down excited and fall asleep, kind of struggle. Brewski, before you go to an event where you meet all the Warriors and have your photo taken with them, like, are you giggly and excited?
Yeah, I was really excited. I had a lot of fun with that. I
That's what
did.
I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Well,
It's
that's the same-
incredible, mine, dude. I love you.
Well, that's the same convention where I did whiskey shots with Tom Wopat and John Schneider from the
Of
Dukes of
course.
Hazzard.
See the
And I
fun
got- and I-
Brewski's having, I tell you. I don't know.
And I got drunk with a girl that was dressed like Violet from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
That's hours of fun.
Oh my God.
I
Yeah.
mean, you kind of look like you're the 6th village person or something. I don't know. There's something Native American about what you have going, but it's also biker gang kind of looking. So you could fill in for either of those village people. I mean,
Well,
that's a compliment, by the way.
I will suggest the book, The Warriors, to anybody out there.
book
We're
first
still
or the
on the
movie first?
Warriors, Steve. We're still going on the Warriors.
Yeah.
What's the
This
book
is his
called?
platform. This is his day. He's dressed as a warrior. So
Yeah,
get it
You're
out.
right.
the book?
Sorry.
the book was written by a guy named Saul Urich, and it's partly based on his experiences as a youth worker in New York City in the 70s with all the kids and the gangs and that sort of thing there.
What was first, the book or the movie?
Oh, the book.
Okay.
And then the screenplay came out.
The book's always better, right? I mean, come on.
Well, but the book is very different because there's a lot of stuff in it about his time as a youth worker in the city in the early 70s.
Well, all right.
Yeah.
You see, we're here to educate, inform. We're talking about the latest movies from the late 1970s. You know, it's a whole new generation out there, so I'm sure they're enjoying. But Brewski, you look good. I applaud you for dressing up for Halloween, which is today in our world, yesterday or a week ago for anyone listening.
Well, I have to go out to work after this anyway, so.
Are you going to wear that as the Uber driver?
I sure am.
Good for you. Is that all the costume? I mean, am I missing anything that you'll wear in the car? Do you have pants, leather pants?
No,
Switchblade on you?
Just jeans, Chuck Taylors, belt, you know. But I couldn't wear my other costume because it would have been difficult to speak into the microphone and have you guys hear me correctly.
What are you? Your furry costume?
No, my lucha costume with my mask and everything.
Yeah, I find those masks disturbing, so I don't know if I want to stare at you for 3 hours while you have this mask on.
Dude, I've got a collection of those, handmade in Mexico. There's a guy in Tijuana I buy them from.
Nice. We were talking last week about
a mask guy.
Yeah, down in Tijuana. Yeah,
of course you do.
That's where all the best creepy masks are made. Is Tijuana.
Hey, did I buy you a mask in Mexico?
No,
I did too, dude. I can't believe you forgot about that.
No, you didn't.
I did too, dude. I bought you a mask in Mexico, a wrestling, what do you call it? Lucha?
Yeah, I'd have to look at my bag. I don't remember because the only masks I have in there are the ones I bought from this guy.
I think Nick would remember if he bought you a Mexican wrestling mask or not.
Yeah, because
Nick,
Rachel
is this a joke or you remember?
No, I remember it. Rachel was like, "Why are you buying that?"
That explained everything then. Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, no, it does make a lot more sense when you finish with, "Oh, it's for Brewski." Everything makes more sense.
Yeah, you know.
And so, we were talking last week about kinks and that I like to be the master in the dungeon and whatnot. But I'll tell you guys, the mask thing creeps me out. Don't like it at all.
Like the zipper across the mouth thing?
Yeah, and the leather stuff, all that leather and mask instead. There's something unsettling about that. So,
like the Pulp Fiction mask, is that what you're talking about specifically, or?
Well, any of those leather mask stuff. It's common in the S&M world that someone or both of you are wearing some weird leather mask, like Brewski said, with zipper mouth and eyes.
Usually it's the submissive wears that because it's the sensory deprivation mask. Usually you can put flaps down over the eyes and you can zip up the mouth and all that sort of thing. Because some people actually enjoy something that's called breath play, which is kind of not my thing.
Is it like choking you out until you almost pass out?
Well, there's that part of it, yes. But then there's other people that enjoy it where your breathing is constricted, but not by someone putting their hands on your throat, but rather like with the zipper. So you can get some sort of air in there, but not a lot. And people get off on that.
Let me tell you, there's no one in my life, you guys included, that I trust enough to play that game with. I wouldn't trust Rachel with that game. You know what I mean? Like, I don't trust.
I don't even need to
enough.
trust someone. I guess I would trust them, but that doesn't sound erotic at all. It's weird. And I will say with one of my exes, I put a blindfold on them, and they freaked out. Like, they did not like not being able to see what was going on. Like, I don't know, it triggered some old trauma or something, but they wigged out. So
I had an ex that
that's fine.
I had an ex that was into blade play, which was
Gravy. We could spend a whole day on the amount of kinks you know about that I've never heard of. What is blade play? What is that?
Is it cutting?
Some people she in particular liked to have the blade against her throat while she was doing certain things.
Yeah.
Which I was not okay with at all. And you couldn't put a dull one there because she would know it had to be sharp because that was part of the whole thing. And I didn't like that at all.
That's weird.
Yeah, that's
not
for me.
Sopranos episode where he holds the gun against the woman's head, and he finds that to be some kink, you know. So
yeah,
I guess it's in the same category.
Yeah, not into any of it, dude. I think that Steve probably knows this story from years ago. The only kink that I've ever been asked to be a part of is, boy, I don't even know how you'd say it, but fake rape, like
Yes.
acting out rape.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember that, Steve?
I remember you telling me the story. Yeah, yeah.
Had a girlfriend who wanted that in our sex life, and like actually took it so far that she like wanted me to hide out by her garage and like tackle her in the bushes.
Yeah, make sure you're not tackling the wrong person. Boy, that could go sideways.
Yeah, there's been a Law and Order SVU about that, dude. Where
Oh, really?
yeah, but let me tell you that I'm not into that. It just
Yeah.
I don't find any of it sexy, dude. I'm pretty vanilla, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm finding out I'm vanilla.
Apparently, and you're dressed vanilla today as well, Mr. Ice. So he's ready for P. Diddy's white party today. So you're looking good.
Does it look white to you? Does this look white to you?
On my screen, yeah, maybe gray or something.
yeah.
I don't know.
Something
Pink,
like that.
dude. It's pink. It's very
Really
nice color of pink. Yeah, I guess a faded pink.
Very preppy. Very good.
Yeah, very preppy. That's what I was
Well,
going for, Bruce.
Pink and green. Those are the colors of preppies. Pink and green.
Yeah,
Are they?
Zach Morris representing today.
Oh, I was thinking Palmer Woodrow, but that's something.
Oh. All right.
Yeah, one last thought on the kink. The ex, the first time I tied her up at her request.
Yeah.
She starts like, I can get out of these things. Like, I'm not, and it's like, it's just a game. I'm not actually like trying to like restrain you to the point that you couldn't.
I'm not gonna make your
That's-
wrist bleed. My
Right,
God.
she's like, tie him tighter. I can get out of this. I'm like, you're missing the point here. Okay.
Or maybe
Go with
you're
it.
missing the point. Like that's actually tie me up.
Yeah.
I remember that I had a group of friends that I went to high school with, and we had this conversation. We were probably stoned, but we had this conversation that I started off by saying, I don't understand people who get ass raped that don't want it, like in jail. Was my main that was where the conversation stared. Like, I don't understand
don't
people
understand
in
it.
jail that get ass raped that don't want to be. And I was a real cocky young kid, and I said, there's no way if you guys both were in a cell that I would let you ass rape me on any level. And they were like, oh, really? Do you really think that? Like, if we have a test right now, we'll all keep our clothes on. But if I can get you down on the ground and have complete control over you, will you say you're wrong? I was like, yeah. So, dude, these two guys attack me. And I was like, after that, I thought, oh, I see how people get ass raped all the time, dude. There's like nothing you could do about it.
Yeah, it's the key part of rape, I think. It's that it's completely against your will.
Well, see,
somehow
a
over
lot
the
of-
centuries, people have figured it out.
A lot of times people will freeze during rape. You know what I mean? They will freeze during rape. But to have like a rape where you're fighting the whole time to not let it happen, I couldn't conjure in my mind how I could not make that stop. And it only took about 30 seconds to show me otherwise. I was like, oh,
because
yeah,
they held you down hard enough or you got fatigued. I mean, you can only fight for so long.
all of the above. They held me down so hard that I couldn't move any limb on my body. And I was so fatigued trying to that I knew that if they wanted to take advantage of me right now, that they could, you know.
I didn't know that you were ever faux raped. I think that's very brave of you to.
It was a harsh lesson, dude. It was I wasn't going into it to give anything back to the world. I was just real cocky and thought, oh, there's no way that could happen to me.
I mean, I've thought before, like I have a hard time getting in just when we're both willing. Like if you're struggling, I'm never gonna find that hole. Like, you know, I mean,
but you're worried about hurting her.
Yeah, sure.
Where they would not be. You know,
not at all.
So, I mean, I think it'd be easier if you were not worried about hurting whoever you were with. But
I think sometimes they like it if you struggle too, because to them it's a bit of a game. It makes it all the more satisfying that they
prisoners.
have
Are we talking about prisoners, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
okay.
Yeah.
The whole dominance thing. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
I'll never go to prison.
Fine moment brought to you.
Yes, sorry. Another fine moment brought to you by us here at the Vocal Minority. Find us online, thevocalminority.net. All right. So, all right. What have we discussed so far? 1970s classic hit movies, faux prison rape.
Yep.
Where should we go with the show now?
Kinks. I would like to go with. I started out the show by saying, Steve started the show off in one hell of a mood today, and I mean, listen, a guy's entitled, right? Sometimes you have a bad day, but Steve came in. Steve before the show came in hot of a bad mood. He texted me, I'm in one fucking hell of a mood today,
Yeah.
and then walked right onto the air, still in that mood. I thought he was taking some time to inhale something.
No,
You know, maybe some incense and peppermints.
I've got it sitting right here because as soon as this fucking show's over, that's what I'm doing. So,
Well, Steve, why are you in such a bad mood today?
it's just been a shitty day. What can I tell you? Like a monkey, I've had to play with my own feces today, so it's put me in a foul fucking mood. And I didn't see that coming when I woke up this morning. So, first of all, to the audience, I'm so sorry that now, I don't know, this is like 3 or 4 fucking episodes in a row that we have talked about our own feces and crapping our pants and crapping in the... I don't know why this is a recurring theme.
Steve, please, this is serious business.
Well, this is, you know what? I told Nick, like, I don't know that I want to memorialize this story for everyone to be able to hear for all time to come. But you know what? Screw it. Our philosophy is to keep it real here on this show. And, you know, as Nick brought up a few weeks ago, the older you get, the more crap happens in your life, voluntarily
45
and
to 55,
involuntarily. Right. So, and this is, I guess, a medical discussion at this point. So, sure, let me update you all.
Give us a little Doogie Howser, dude. Do we have any Doogie Howser?
I do. Where's Doogie? Doogie. Oh, there he is right there. Okay. Okay. Welcome to the Medical Corner episode here on the Vocal Minority, Nick and Steve. Doogie Howser's a moron compared to me. So.
It's true.
Does anyone remember the show? We're
Are you kidding me?
I know we remember it, but anyways.
With this friend that was like 35 years old, but supposed to be like 18.
Vinny.
Right. Yes, Vinny. Anyway, all right. So here's what's going on. I've been talking on this show for 5 straight weeks now of how I've been on a involuntary liquid diet. I started some medication that I obviously never should have, and it caused terrible side effects. The first day I was vomiting profusely, I was exhausted, and by day, 12 hours into the first day, I developed like raging diarrhea. And yeah. And, it was all fun and games at first, as diarrhea always is.
It was? What do you mean?
Sure.
It was fun and games, dude?
It can be a novelty, right? Like, let's just see how much, how exhausted I can get, how depleted I get. Let's see how much.
My diaper, daddy.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see how much abuse I can take in the back. Speaking of prison rape.
Oy.
Oh, Johnny Cash, he wrote a song about me, The Burning Ring of Fire.
He has not been in good shape for a long time as far as poo goes. There hasn't been anything solid.
No. I've had just liquid extravaganza now for 5 weeks or something at this point.
Let me ask you something personal.
Great.
I want to know if you pooped.
Don't stop now.
Okay, good. If you pooped, I'm just curious, and I think everyone else is as well.
I'm sure they're not, but yeah, go ahead.
If you pooped in a pasta strainer, would everything that you're letting out of your body go through it?
Yes. The best I have gotten of late, and this is, 3 weeks in, I started getting the doc. Well, originally I called her and said, this medication, she was like, stop it, I don't know if you need it or not. If the problem persists, we'll try a different thing for you. And she was like, stop it, though. Like, it'll take a couple of days, but, diarrhea is a side effect of that drug. So just give it a few days and it'll get out of your system. And, week goes by, 2 weeks go by. It just keeps on going. I was taking Imodium. Nothing was stopping it. And, then she put me on some, like, prescription level Imodium, basically. And she was like, this should cure it all up. And I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks goes by at that point, and I call her again, and I'm like, it's still the best I'm at is soft serve, as my doctor described it. That's not just my immature way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was pure liquid at first, and she's like, "Are we up to soft serve yet?" And I'm like, "Oh, is that the term we're going to use?" Like, okay,
that's what I call it.
Yeah, well, so I've made it to the level of soft serve, but nothing any more solid than that. Let me tell you.
All right.
And then she put me on some sort of heavy duty antibiotic that is basically like if you go to Mexico and you drink the water and you get dysentery. Like it's something, if you've been traveling the world and you just come home with a raging, what do they call it?
A bit of the deli belly.
Yeah, Montezuma's Revenge or whatever.
Yes.
She put me on this heavy duty antibiotic. And that hasn't cured it either. So then she starts talking about, we may need to do a CAT scan, we may need to do a colonoscopy. Now the doctor's getting worried. Like 5 weeks of this is completely insane.
He also changed his diet to the brat diet and just was eating bread and bananas and.
Yes, the brat diet is what the medical community calls it when you change your diet for a little kid that has uncontrollable diarrhea. And it's rice, it's bread, it's just bland, nothingness food. And so, none of that stuff has worked. And so, now the doctor's starting to get a little freaked out that something serious might have been triggered internally here, because my gut health has actually gotten very good in these last several years. But man, I mean, it is just out of whack.
You're so braggadocious about your gut health.
Well, it was terrible for my 20s, my 30s. And then I got in shape and I started taking probiotics. I started eating better. And I have a really good gut. And I will tell you, something my ex always laughed about. When I eat food, I fart like mad, but they never smell. I mean, my
farts don't stink.
Really? So I mean, I sound like a trombone. I can make acoustic sounds you've never heard come out of a human before.
Oh, a lot? Like you eat 10 minutes later, you're farting it up?
Yes. Yeah. I don't know what the deal is, but something about just food. It doesn't run through me, but it gives me, gas, and I'm singing from my butt trombone, and it's impressive, but they never stink. I mean, right now, the smells that are coming out of me are horrible. Just
making your eyes water.
Oh, there's a toxic mess going on somewhere in my gut right now. And so today I get on the phone with her this morning, and she tells me that, and again, this is all just medical information for everyone to digest, no pun intended. She tells me that we need to take stool cultures. So we need to take stool samples from you, and we need to run them through a lab, and we need to find out what comes back, what is going on in there. Is it a disease? Is it bacteria? What the hell is causing all this stuff?
They're looking to do a little testing.
Testing?
You have to bring that voice in here. Good God. That's my son.
Testing?
They just want to do some testing on you.
So they want to find out what's going on. And I may have a colonoscopy coming my way very soon, and I may have a CAT scan to see if there's some blown up infection or something going on down there. So I called Nick this morning, or maybe I texted you, whatever, and I said, great, like I have to give a stool sample, and I'm completely naive as to what that is. However, if you watch the news like Nick and I do, like there's this company that advertises a new way to check for rectal cancer, colon cancer. And it's basically, Saturday Night Live did a funny parody of it. It's you poop in a box, and you mail off the box to this company. And they then have a terrible job to open boxes of poop from around the world, apparently. So I'm thinking, like, poop in a box, like, that sounds unpleasant, but okay, like, I suppose I can poop in a box, right?
Of course you can. I give you the encouragement I felt like you may have needed to do it. I mean, I thought Steve would do a nice job. If you're going to do something, give it your all, and I feel like you probably did that.
And I appreciate the encouragement and the support, as always. Nick is always there through thick and thin and soft servy and watery and all that. So, but then I actually went, so my doctor tells me, you got to go to the lab in town and pick up the collection kit. So I'm like, oh, my box, I get to poop in. That's great. It's not what it is. It's not what it is. So, Brewski, I don't know. I'm sorry that you have any idea how to answer this question, but you referenced it earlier. I had to poop in a bucket, and then I had to collect 3 vials worth of samples out of my bucket of my leavings.
Sure. Well,
did you have to do it with? Do you just like your cupping soup out of a bowl, or do you have a syringe that you draw it up into?
First of all, this immediately pissed me off and depressed the crap out of me. No pun intended. Like, you're telling me, like, some child, some monkey, I have to play with my own feces. Like, science hasn't come up with a better way to do this. It's 2022, and this is what I have to do. Poop in a bucket and fill 3 fucking vials with it. Like, seriously?
Well, how many diapers have you changed, though, Steve?
Well, I'll tell you, that's probably one of the only things that made this tolerable is being a parent. I've cleaned up a lot of poop from other humans.
Yeah.
Being a pet owner, I've done a lot of that in my life, but there was always a barrier there. It's not mine. It was my child's or my dog or my cat. And
I get what you're saying. When I told you I pooped my pants as an adult for the first time, you recall I said I was disappointed in myself. Like,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
I feel like when you play or have your own poo on you, it's just something to be disappointed in.
Listen, sometimes, you have a cleaning accident and you're like, oh my, I got some on my finger. What kind of disgusting human am I? Like, this is terrible.
Yes.
So yeah, I got to set aside a bucket. So you put it in the toilet, you fill the bucket. And I'll tell you, and again, I know this is way too much information for the audience. I hope you listen to the rest of the show. All of these podcasts have a fast forward option. If you want to use it right now, I promise we'll be done with this soon. But I was worried, like, if I can't fill it, then I have to, like, come back later to do vials number 2 and 3 and all this. So I sat there just grinning and bearing it for as long as I could, like, let as much build up in me as I possibly can. I stopped at McDonald's on the way home because I'm like, I'm eating a shitty cheeseburger. That'll help like, the system.
I'm going to irritate it into submission.
Yes. So I did that, and I sat in the bathroom, and my cat kept coming in there because she's my shadow nowadays. And I was like, just you leave, okay? Like, I got things to do, okay? Like,
Right,
this is not
too
hangout
busy.
time, right?
Trying to collect product for testing.
Testing.
Yeah. So I left an impressive soft serve specimen. It was plenty to fill the 3 vials with, but I had to, they gave me gloves. And then there are 3 vials. And again, I just apologize to everyone for this entire discussion. 2 of the vials have some sort of liquid in them that you had to mix the 2 together, and these vials have a built-in spoon on top of the lid. Like a kid's applesauce container. Like, you take it, it's got a built-in spoon, like the cheese and crackers you would have as a kid, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So those 2 vials, you take the lid out and I'm scooping into my bucket and I'm filling it back into each vial, and it's got a line on it, like you have to fill to this line at least. So I
For them
went
to do proper testing.
Testing.
Yeah, thanks. And I could tell I was going to easily fill these vials, so I filled each of those to the top rim. But then the third one was like the big specimen cup, and they told me like, yeah, that one's not as important. You just got to fill the bottom of it.
That one's just for Jimmy in the back.
Yeah, exactly. We put those on eBay. It's fun. So that one they gave me a tongue depressor to scoop out and like flinging peanut butter onto a sandwich or something. Like, I mean,
You're frosting a cake.
oh, exactly. I felt like I
Chocolate frosting at that.
chocolate. Yeah. Peanut butter chocolate mix. Peanut butter chocolate is what I'm calling it.
That's unnecessary, Steve.
I felt like, a surgeon, or when I work on my dirt bike, like I take my clothes, like taking long sleeves off. I get these gloves on. Like, don't wear anything that if you get oil on it, you're going to be upset. Like, that was my philosophy today. Like, I wore crappy clothes, no pun intended, and, close the doors. Like, I'm just going to get through this. And then the lab was like, we're only open for 2 more hours, so it'd be great if you can get it back. But if you can't, just put it in your refrigerator.
I knew they were going to say that.
Oh, my. And I couldn't make eye contact with this poor nurse explaining this process to me. My head was just down, and I was shaking my head. And I'm just like, put it in my refrigerator. Sure, next to all my food. Like, are you kidding me? Medical science, this is where we're at. Seriously.
Do you have to do that? Did you get the box off?
Oh, I mean, thankfully, since I'm having 5-6 movements a day, the next one, it's like the subway. There's always one coming around the corner soon. So, no, I banged it out. I got it done. I delivered it back to the frickin' lab. And it's such an informal process, by the way. Just the lady at the front desk, she's like, I'll take it. And I hand her a bag full of these 3 vials. And I'm just thinking, like, lady, I wouldn't touch that if I was. You don't want gloves.
It's her job. She's
the receptionist, though. Like, she's not one of
Again,
the-
She takes the
I
product
get that.
every day, dude.
Exactly.
She takes it.
Put some gloves on. I was just playing in my own stool. How do you know I didn't touch the outside of that bag? Like,
Dude, half the time that people take money, I mean, people are always playing in their stool. You know how dirty shit is?
yes. Listen, way before the pandemic, I don't touch doorknobs. I use my shirt because I know a lot of you are disgusting pigs and there's feces on everything. I get it. But you know for a fact there's feces on that. It's a bag of feces. So I would think you'd put on a glove, but no, she just took it and walked in the back with it. I'm like,
Steve, are you saying you were doing some finger painting?
no, I think I actually did a very good job, staying clean.
Of course you did, dude. I know you
No,
did.
I'm scooping this stuff like it's Play-Doh or something. Like, yeah, and I just hand it to you? This poor woman just answering phones? Yeah, I'll take your bag of crap.
She's going to take it and get it back as quickly as she can for proper testing.
Wash her hands.
Now, Steve, it's too bad they didn't just send you to that company to do that. And the reason why I said it is because for that company, all they have you do is they give you plastic bags. And when you clean up, you take the teepee, put it in the bag, seal it up, and that's it.
I'm gonna vomit listening to our own show today. Let's just
that would have been a lot better than what you had to do.
Well, it would have been better if they just, use our bathroom, leave it there, we'll go take care of it. That I could tolerate, but this whole home play kit thing, and then come on back by 3. If not, just stick it in your fridge tonight. Like,
yeah, that's a no-go. I could not put that in my fridge, dude.
The same technology they've been using for like 300 years on this topic. So,
well, if you put it in the freezer, you could have made poopsicles.
Could have made poopsicles. Solid
Thank
point.
God my kids aren't here this week. Like, hey guys, just in the top shelf, don't eat that peanut butter. Get it out of the cupboard. Like. And then, by the way, then she prescribes me what she calls like the most super strength Imodium there is available on the planet. And she said, quote, "It will bind you up."
It's just a rubber cork. Please take it and serve.
Exactly.
You're going to be
a problem.
You're going to be a walking cement mixer.
Oh, dude, I don't even know what that means. Bind you up. That sounds terrible. And
it doesn't sound comfortable. I mean, if you know what, you're going to have an even worse problem if you can't shit, because it's going to start hurting real bad.
Yes. And by the way, if I do have to get a colonoscopy anytime soon, that procedure, they prescribe you a drug that gives you just raging diarrhea because they have to clean your entire system out the night before it. So you're going to bind me up for a week and then flush me back out again and then shove a camera up there? Like, I can't do this. I just can't do this anymore.
You said, ask him if you can just get a colonic before the colonoscopy instead of giving you the drug to give you diarrhea, because then with the colonic at least you like lay down and it's something about hot water being pumped up there and it cleans you out.
Have you had that done, Brewski?
No, but I would also point to, again, friend of the show, Doug Stanhope, who actually has talked about getting a colonic, and he did it for a morning radio show in Anchorage, Alaska, while the intern held a microphone to talk to him while he was live on the air.
Wow. Was it a pleasant process? I know some people do it for dietary reasons or whatnot.
Some people have them in their house, dude. Some people have bought the machines to put in their house, and they'll have you could have a colonic done with hot water, but you could have it done with there's coffee colonics. There's all kinds of different things. Right?
Yeah, order that at Starbucks next time. I'll take a venti colonic, please. Brewski, was his experience good or not? Did he say it was fun or enjoyable, or was it torture?
He said it could have been funny had they, done in certain things. He said it was just so clinical, and the lady was all boring, and
They didn't put on smooth jazz for him or anything.
No. He said he actually wanted it to be like a dominatrix with like her foot over his face, holding him down, saying, "We're gonna clean you out, and then we're gonna check you for colon cancer."
Yes. Well, and Doug Stanhope is a friend of the show. We had him on here about 20 years ago, so we're trying to get him back on to see if he remembers young Nick Steven Brewski or not.
He's a long lost friend at this point.
It is.
Well, I played roulette with him about 5 years ago at the Plaza Hotel in downtown Las Vegas.
Oh, really?
Brewski has figured out an appropriate way to stalk Doug Stanhope. He goes to most of his shows and sits up front. So you've seen him quite a few different times, haven't you, Brewski?
Yeah, and more than once he's actually been on stage and he sees me. He's like, "Hey, you're back. Good to see you again."
Nice. And do you ever mention, do you remember going on our show in Seattle?
I mentioned it when we were playing roulette together. I was completely wasted. He was drinking and he was all like, "We're putting big bets down." I mean, I spent a lot of money at the roulette table.
What does that mean?
Hundreds? Thousands? What do you mean?
A couple $100, on a number on black or red or whatever and that sort of thing. And I mean, I walked away up, which I thank God, but I was betting way more than I would normally want to.
Sure.
And we're both like only ones at the roulette table and we're drinking. And I was already drunk as it was. I came back to my hotel and I saw him at the roulette table. I walked over, introduced myself, reminded him about the show. And
Did he remember or no?
He remembered that night in particular because he was still with his then wife.
Bingo.
No. This is Renee. Remember she was the hot chick with the really huge tits?
I remember.
Yeah. Because that was the night he did the show up at the break room, Chop Suey.
Is he with Bingo now?
Yes, he is. He is with her. Yes.
Oof. There's something cute about that woman.
Yeah. I've got pictures of me with them too. But anyway,
so you can get him back on the show because I'd like to talk to him again, and he hates written like I do, so that's good.
Yeah.
But just real quick, my point of this extra strength Imodium thing, it comes in a powder package, and the package says for the first 3 days only take half the package. And so now I'm like a Coke dealer, like putting powder on my counter and like trying to divide it in half. Like, you couldn't just give me a half packet?
Doesn't seem very scientific.
No.
You just use a half packet.
And especially when it warns you, like, only take a half pack of the first 3 days. Well, then why are you making me measure it? Like, this sounds like I should not be taking too much.
Now you're the pharmacist too, dude. You're the doctor shitting in a barrel, and you're the pharmacist mixing up your meds, dude. You're gonna have a degree when you're done with this runny butthole.
This is what my life has come to of late, and I just, I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm waiting for the pendulum to swing the other way, people.
And you
my
thought
life has been shitty way before the last 2 months.
You thought the self-checkout was bad enough.
Good gravy. I mean, I talked last week or 2 weeks ago on the show about having to get myself a catheter once. I think playing in my stool today may top that. It wasn't quite as painful, but it was more humiliating in some ways. You know? At least I didn't have some nurse standing here watching me like when I had to give myself a catheter. So. So this is the day I've had. So yeah, I'm not in the best of moods.
There's gonna be. Think about it this way, Steve. There's gonna be worse things to come in your life.
I know, and like I said, like we're all getting older, so I guess these are just the phases of life we're entering into. So let's all talk about pooping in boxes and mailing it around the world.
We gotta talk about that shit. It's important, dude.
Phenomenal.
Don't put this on YouTube. I've noticed our demographics are very young on YouTube, so. We're trending older on Facebook, so we'll post this on Facebook for you there.
Young kids do like to laugh at people getting older. I think they think that's a little funny.
Yeah, well, they'll find this all hilarious then. So,
well, Steve, are you blocked up now? Did you take the powder?
Yeah, I did take the powder. I made sure I made my contribution first, and then I took the powder, which was a chalky mess. I mean, I put it in water. Obviously, I didn't snort it. But
did you put any gums afterwards too?
Yeah, a little bit. I did come off the ass of a hooker just so I could keep it authentic. And no, it was just chalky. It was, I mean, imagine the worst lemonade mixed or something you've ever had. It was just chalky, nasty mixture. I immediately started chugging orange juice and whatnot. So I don't know. I'm feeling bound up now, I guess. So, but I've been afraid to leave the house for more than a few hours at a time. I mean, it's gotten utterly ridiculous. So I guess I'd rather be bound up than footloose and fancy free.
I think you're gonna feel better in no time, dude. It's gotta hit sometime, right? Come
on. So yeah, so that's my medical update for y'all. I'll keep you in the loop.
Yeah, we're all wishing you obviously the best, Steven.
I'll keep you in the poop loop. I'll let you know how it's all going. And again, if you're skimming through the show, we're now going to officially move on from the rectal portion of the show. Unless we start talking about my dating life, then maybe we'll have a different rectal discussion.
Yeah, well, let's see. Well, that's a nice little tease, Stephen. What do you know about what Kanye West, or as I guess what they're calling him, Ye now, but what do we know about what he's done over the last week and a half, 2 weeks?
He's managed to prove that even rappers can shoot themselves in the foot and lose sneaker deals and respect and everything else.
That's true. So the original comment that he made was that he's going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. Obviously, people did not react well to this. Last week, I believe, he did Chris Cuomo's show. He did Piers Morgan's show, which I watched a little bit of both of them. They were semi-entertaining. I mean, he really went crazy on Piers Morgan's show, ended up walking off and was just being an idiot. He was also on a podcast called Drink Champs. Have either of you heard of it?
Nope.
Okay, he was on that podcast and apparently just laid down a ton of anti-Semitic talk on the program, and they aired the episode, but they edited a lot of it out. Somehow this audio leaked, and you could listen to it on YouTube, and it's pretty terrible.
Has he burned enough bridges yet where he'll come on our show? Because I don't want to promote his bullshit, but we could use some extra downloads. So,
yeah, you think that we'd make a great little couch for him to sit on next?
I'm looking to have some sort of controversy where we piss people off enough where people start trying to cancel us, because that will equal nothing but extra downloads, and we're trying to grow the show. So
it's coming, dude. Just relax. I have no doubt that it's coming sooner than later. All right.
maybe he could.
Or from other gold diggers out there.
Other gold diggers are wild and out and about.
Yeah.
Maybe he could hook me up with his ex-wife.
Oh, Kanye. Well, she's
I
not
thought you
with anyone
despised the
anymore.
Kardashians. Which ex-wife are you talking about?
I don't like them, but I'd still do her.
Oh, okay. All right, you've got ethics. I get it. So
he's not an idiot, Steve.
Right.
Steve,
I don't know what to say about Kanye.
We've had this discussion. It's been 7 years. I mean, you get it where you can,
Yeah, Brewski's ready to bang that receptionist at the poop clinic, dude. I mean, Brewski's ready to go at any
Well, we were
moment.
talking about the bro code and how long do you have to wait before you bang someone's ex. So it's been long enough now. Me and the Kardashians are all done. I'm actually more of a Khloe fan, but
yeah, I like Khloe too. I mean, all of them are nice, dude. Come on, let's be honest. But
I would do the mother. At this point, I would do the mother too.
I really don't find the Kardashians to be hot. I used to find Khloe to be kind of hot because she was the most normal of them all looking. And
she was the chubby one.
But now she's lost a bunch of weight, and she's like all of them. Like I'm not attracted to the main Kardashian at all.
Well,
I'm not saying I would kick her out of bed or anything, but no, that's not on my poster on my wall by any means. But
who is your poster, dude? Who's your poster? If you could pick one poster to put on your wall, I will first ask Steve, and then I will ask Brewski.
I think you all know my type, clearly. We've talked about it on the show. I'm a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl from next door type. So pinup style, it would have to be somebody like a classic Pam Anderson. But just, my actual, girl next door type, probably Jennifer Aniston would be my fave.
Okay. Brewski?
Well, if I really have to go, I would start with Veronica Lake, first of all.
Of course, I don't know who you're talking about.
It's an old time movie star.
I was going to say that's old school movie, right?
Yeah. But then Rita Hayworth, obviously. But then, all right, well, let's come to current day. Current day, I would say Rose Namajunas would be number one. When she has her long hair, she's a MMA fighter.
Oh, okay.
And she's. And don't get me wrong, she's still an attractive lady when she shaves her head for a fight. But when you see her with her long hair.
I know who you're talking about now. And yes, you're right. She is cute with her hair. You like that body though? All tight and right.
I'm more about the face and her, that part of it with her. Right. And on top of that too, she could talk to Lithuanian, and that would actually be kind of hot.
Okay. Yeah. I'll take it, dude.
All right. How do we get from Kanye West to our ideal pinups? I got lost here. So.
Because we started talking about the Kardashians.
Oh, that's right.
Yes. Yeah, that's how it came about. My thing I wanted to mention is I think it is so hysterical how he actually went on this program, this podcast, this Champs podcast, and he said Adidas. There's nothing he could do. He could literally say any anti-Semitic shit he wanted, and Adidas would never drop their partnership.
How'd that work out? Yee.
Obviously. No, his name's not Yee, dude. It's Ye, dude.
I thought it was Yee.
No.
Bruce.
No, because you say his name Kanye.
Right.
So that's what I've been told why they call him Ye.
Well, they're spelling it Y-E. I understand the mistake, but yeah, it's we're calling him Ye. All right.
No disrespect meant Kanye.
Fuck you.
Right. So anyway, this is real funny, dude. When Adidas drops him, Forbes reported that Ye's Adidas deal accounted for $1.5 billion of his net worth.
Jesus.
So it hurt him drastically, right?
Yeah.
drastically. I think it's funny. Other people are not going to step up and pull out of Kanye, dude. He's done for, I think.
Wait a minute, not pulling out. Is this Herschel Walker or Kanye West we're talking about?
The movie I saw, he pulled out, but no. I mean, this goes down to the, Saturday Night Live did a good bit about it this weekend about, he's going to every shoe company, and Skechers was like, hey, we're flattered, but fuck you. Like,
No,
yeah, I saw
Right.
that was actually pretty smart that they did. That was fun.
It was clever. SNL's good that way. Listen, whenever you find yourself, your talking points aligning with Hitler, you should probably shut the fuck up. And by the way, I was pondering this the other day, and I hope I'm not going to sound extremely ignorant right now, but I don't understand why people hate the Jews. I don't understand. Traditional racism, I'm not on board with, but at least my brain can wrap my head around it. Black people, white people, brown people, yellow people, like, it's different colors. That's why we hate each other. Why Germans who are white hated Jewish people who are white, I've never understood that. I know it's religious origins, but all of your religions are fucked in the head. So I never quite understood why the Jews became so hated.
Been hated for a long time, dude. And I think that we don't understand, like you said, as much as the average person from other countries, like they seem to get it. But I'm with you. I've never understood that at all. But
are black people just looking for somebody to pick on? We've been picked on so long, so we're going to pick on the Jews now. But doing this, obviously. I'm just saying, I don't understand where this shit comes from.
But that goes way back to even to Louis Farrakhan. He's been attacking the Jewish people for decades now.
Why are they hated? I don't get it.
Well, because I believe
they're white people with a dumb religion, like Catholics are, like Christians are.
No.
What's the difference?
Louis Farrakhan's a black man.
No, I'm saying Jewish people are white people with a crazy religion that people seem to hate upon them. But so are Christians, so are Catholics. Why are the Jews singled out for such hatred over the decades and millenniums? I don't get it.
Well, you're woke, dude. What do you want me to say? I don't know what to
I want you to
dude.
defend hating Jewish people. That's what I want you to
I don't know what to tell you, dude.
Not defend it, but can someone just even explain it?
Listen, I know Kanye's current grief is that Jews in Hollywood apparently make most of the contracts for the black entertainers. And apparently he's talking about them doing black people wrong on these contracts. Which,
please. An agent screwed over the talent? That has to be a Jewish
that hasn't
thing?
been happening for decades, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't get it.
Obviously, there's no reason for it. Obviously, we've got somebody who's mentally ill and off their meds and therapy or whatever they do to stay on track. But my point is how much this opens up so quickly. Like when Trump became president, like all the racist people seem to find their way out of the shadows, right? As Proud Boys and everything like that.
That was a green light to them.
Right.
Yeah,
it was
there's a famous
light.
person leading the way, so they jump on board.
Right. So now with Kanye, we're already starting to see all these people pop out of the shadows, ready to go. Did you guys hear about the group that stood over the 405 freeway and I think Jacksonville or whatever?
It was a bunch of ignorant white people. Is this who Kanye is aligning himself with now? Does he feel good about that?
Yes.
He agrees with them, dude. He agrees with them. For whatever, I mean, for better or for worse in his own situation. I don't know. He agrees with them. So I think he's getting exactly what he asked for. But
if Wu-Tang Clan came out and was like, we agree with you, Kanye, then I'd say like, oh, hey, you've got some brothers there that agree with you. But I don't understand. Kanye says anti-Semitic things. A bunch of dumb redneck white folk come out and support him. And he's proud of that.
But he's a Trump supporter already, Steve. So, yes, he is proud of
Why
that.
do Trump supporters keep hanging out on freeway overpasses? Enough already. I'm sick of your fucking
If you're going to be up there, you might as well jump.
Exactly.
Finish the process. Let me run you over.
So this same group, though, came out this weekend and projected onto which
some
building
buildings
was it?
in downtown Jacksonville, and it was during the Georgia
Penn State game, right?
No. It was Georgia's game against. Oh Jesus.
I don't know if it matters. What are you saying? They projected something on a stadium?
Yeah,
At Penn State
Conway was
University. Right. Okay.
Yeah. No. Penn State was the thing with with the Gavin
the
McInnes.
Proud Boys. That's right.
Exactly.
All right, I'm getting mixed up.
So much
Okay.
hatred, and we haven't even gotten to Pelosi yet, which we need to talk about. So
Yes, dude, we will get into that, by the way. Okay, so
Florida. It was the
University of Florida.
game. It was the Florida Georgia game, which
That's
is held every year in
of course,
Jacksonville.
Florida's involved somehow. Okay.
Okay, so they what did they write up on the screen, Brewski? Do you remember?
It says something
what
like
they wrote.
Kanye was right.
Kanye
and-
was right about the Jews, is what they
Yeah.
projected onto the building.
Jeez.
Obviously, the University of Florida and University of Georgia condemned the message on Sunday. They had nothing to do with it. It was that same group who stood over the freeway. Then Penn State had a deal for the Proud Boys to come, and they were going to do a talk.
Gavin McInnes, the guy who founded the Proud Boys, was
Yeah.
going to do. Actually, he
Do
said
a
it was
comedy
going,
show, right?
exactly. That's exactly what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
They said that they
Yuck.
got so much violence happening with protest outside the school and stuff like that that they 45 minutes before it was supposed to happen, they pulled the plug on it and said no.
I love that it took them that long to realize having a Proud Boys comedy show might be a bad idea.
Yeah, I think because of trying to prove to children that free speech is something that needs to happen on both sides, they were going to let this whole thing happen, which you can't disagree with, I suppose. But you lay down with dogs, you get up with fleas, right? I mean, they had to know something was coming with this whole thing.
Yeah.
So, but good on them. They polled it 45 minutes right as violence was
And by the
happening on
way,
the campus.
these ignorant white folk in Florida that are putting these banners up supporting anti-Semitic views in favor of Kanye West, I wonder what their opinion on black people is.
Just wondered again. I mean, it's the keyboard warriors. Do you even know what you're arguing about or supporting? Do you even know what you're talking about? Because probably not. And
I'm
if you
saying,
do,
Kanye-
shame on you even more.
Totally. I mean, but yeah, Kanye's aligning himself with a bunch of anti-Semitic white douchebags who are probably racist in other ways too, but he's willing to look away from their racist views because he's in favor of their anti-Semitic views. Like,
Right.
you're all ignorant assholes. Just knock it off already.
Just knock it off already. You're part of the problem. I don't know why you don't understand this. You're part of the problem. You think you're justice seekers and you're doing this for some sort of justice. You're part of the problem. Please stop.
And is Kanye done? Somehow I don't think he is. Will this be the end of him? Is he canceled?
I don't know. I mean, people are still going to listen to him because now he's crazy, Kanye West.
Right.
You know, people are still going to listen to him.
But I don't give him the excuse about being off his meds or being crazy or anything like that, because they always say a drunk man's words are a sober man's thoughts. Well, in this case here, an unmedicated man's words are his thoughts that are already in his head. The medication just held them back.
And, and you know what? There's one thing, and I had said this about my ex. Like, if you do something in a moment of anger or rage or whatever, like, I'll give you any sort of one-off that you may just be in a bad mind and you start saying all this shit. But when days and weeks go by and you keep doubling and tripling down on it, you can't blame the meds. You can't blame alcohol. You can't blame whatever it is. That bullshit is in you.
Yep.
Well, of course,
Brewski,
it's in
those
you,
are
dude.
words of
What?
wisdom, man. What was that again? The drunk man's thoughts?
Oh, a drunk man's words are a sober man's thoughts.
Yeah, that's a fucking fortune cookie right there. That's good.
Well, so is he who stands on toilet high on pot, but let's not get carried away. Listen,
He who farts in church sits in their own pew.
Oh,
that's correct. Darnus has something to do with that today.
he who
Listen,
dealt it smelt it.
that's another good one. We could keep going all day with these.
Yeah,
but
we're here all
listen,
week, folks. Thanks.
I don't think you're right, Brewski. I don't think you're right. I think you
No,
should listen.
It's
I want-
he who smelt it dealt it. Pardon me.
No, I don't think you're right about Kanye not getting a break on his meds. That's the man inside for sure, but it's a crazy man. That's what he's taking the meds for.
No, it's not a crazy man. Okay, I'm on meds. Okay, and I know that I am who I am, and no, that's not Popeye talking or anything like that. but what is inside of you? There's no excuse you can give for anybody spewing that kind of hate, and you can. It's not crazy. It's just it's in there. And crazy people say stuff, but usually crazy stuff people say is stuff like raccoons like to eat dinner at Tony Roma's, or something
I understand
like
what
that.
you're saying.
I did see that Yelp review actually. But,
I understand what you're saying, but listen, he's a crazy man inside there. That's what the meds are for. Whether you agree with him on medication is a different story. But
I think you're both making the same point. Like, the meds may have been holding the crazy back, but the crazy was in there. That's who he is. And now, whether it's meds or he just feels liberated, like he's letting his bullshit fly. And yeah, people, wake up.
I just don't want people to give him the excuse, like, oh, he's misunderstood, and these thoughts aren't really his. They're the rantings of a crazy man and that sort of thing. And I don't want him getting off that easy. I don't want that happening.
No,
because I don't believe for 1 minute that those are crazy words coming out of him. I believe that's what he believes in his soul.
Of course it is, dude. Of course it is. But his voices in his head are not being silenced right now.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
That's a problem for the rest of us.
That doesn't matter.
So shouldn't we be mad at him not taking his medication? Shouldn't that be the thing we're mad about?
No, absolutely not. And stop it already trying to make excuses for him.
I'm not trying to make excuses for specifically him. Listen to me, Brewski. I'm not trying to make excuses for him. I'm trying to make excuses, or at least some compassion and understanding for a large group of people who have some sort of mental disorder.
I'm not talking about
they're unmedicated. They're not a quality person.
I'm not talking about other people. I'm talking about this douchebag who has a complete history of saying this kind of shit over and over and over again. And it's not stupid, crazy stuff, like squirrels like peanut butter and banana sandwiches or anything like that. It's bullshit like this that he does it all the time and has.
I understand, dude, and I'm not letting him off the hook.
No compassion.
Listen,
Nick is saying for everyone else's benefit, the guy should go back on his meds so we don't have to listen to this garbage.
You know what's even better? He should fucking die. That's what he should do.
Oh my gosh, Brewski! My goodness sakes!
How do they do it?
With the power of Brewski, dude.
I don't care.
Brewski's in the bell tower.
That vest is making you mean today. Dude.
No, it's just
the warrior coming out.
You know what? You can only put up with so much bullshit. You guys know.
I know. I have a hard time wishing death on people. It's been rattling around in my brain a few times in my life, but
I don't.
I hear you. We'd be better off without him. I just say stop buying his fucking album so he's poor, and then we don't have to listen to him anymore.
That would be the way to do it. We are seeing people get brazen once again, though. For Halloween, there were a couple of people, I think, in New York, and I'm sure there was lots, but the ones that were caught on tape were in New York and I think LA, that they dressed up as Hitler and Nazis, like in full garb. Like, people are just getting crazy again. And then you have this guy who attacked Mr. Pelosi, dude, and went looking for Nancy. Go ahead, Harness.
It's a disturbing story. And I got to tell you, that a couple of days ago when it first came out, I immediately knew, obviously, it was an intentional attack. It was not just some random home break-in. And obviously, it's going to be some right-wing fanatic. It is... I mean, Pelosi is demonized over and over and again for years and years now. Every state in this country right now has commercials playing talking about Nancy Pelosi, even though she doesn't live in 49 of those states. She is the punching bag, the whipping boy. She has become demonized over and over and over. And with the escalation in the Trump era, of course, it's only a matter of time before politicians are getting attacked and assassinated. And I don't think this is the end of it. And it is beyond fucking disgusting. I had this moment the other day when the story first came out where I thought, maybe now some Republicans will come out and say, whoa, we got to take the temperature down a notch. Like, you just broke into a woman's home with a fucking hammer, zip ties, you were going to torture her. I read a story today, his plan was to break her kneecaps while she was zip tied on the floor and hold her hostage. And I mean... But no, that isn't what has happened at all. I have a brief selection here of some articles talking about Republican fucking assholes who have been making either jokes or taking political stabs at somebody whose home was invaded and her husband's skull was broken open with a fucking hammer.
Yeah, dude, it's
shut
crazy.
The fuck up. You have to make jokes. I figured either they would say something to take the temperature down or just be smart enough to shut the fuck up about it. But no, that's not what's happening at all. Fucking Donald Trump Jr. posts his Halloween costume, and it's a picture on Twitter of a pair of underwear, which I can explain, and a hammer. and he's like, hey, it's my Pelosi Halloween costume. You fucking scumbag asshole. I can't even imagine if somebody bludgeoned your father's skull open with a hammer that you would think it's funny to make a comment like that.
Oh, they are the kings and queens of making comments about inappropriate shit and people who have been hurt, and they don't care, dude. They have zero compassion because they have developed this whole WWF mindset of the good versus evil, and these are all fucking characters in their little game, and they have forgotten that these are real people with real lives, real families, real problems. They lost reality a long time ago, dude.
And you're emboldening people when you make jokes about it and make light of it. You're encouraging people to do this sort of shit. Jesse Waters, one of the Fox News douchebags, says that people get hit with hammers every day. Like, why are we making a big stink out of this one?
And he went on to say, like, this, Democrats wanted a social worker to show up for this. How's that thought now? Like, first of all, whatever your beliefs are on defund the police, it wasn't, in my opinion, wasn't the right messaging for the whole program. But
no, it was called the wrong thing, but the idea was correct.
Correct. Yeah. But Dems never said send a social worker to an assault in progress, dude. Like, I'm so tired of these people taking advantage and these people that watch them just buying into it, hook, line, and sinker. That's what they said. That's what they said. That's what they said. It's bullshit.
Devin Nunes, who was a failed Republican congressman who now works for Trump's, social media thing, he posted a picture of a Halloween costume. It's some like scary, axe murderer guy, but he's got a hammer. And he posted, what did he post? He said, at least this guy had his clothes on. Because this is all referencing a bullshit conspiracy theory that came out on the first day that Nancy Pelosi's husband is gay and met this guy at a gay bar, and he came to their house to have an affair, and then their lovers' quarrel broke out, and the guy was in his underwear and started blood. It's all bullshit, obviously.
Sure.
They didn't know each other. He's not gay. They're trying to bend over backwards to come up with some reason that this idiot that did this couldn't possibly be part of the Republican, clan, that it was just a random invasion or some gay sex gone wrong, demonizing everything.
To your point, Steve, Ted Cruz was saying that because this guy was from Berkeley, California, there's no way he could have been a right-wing Republican or anything like that. And to what I say is, I suppose that there are cops that are stationed outside the city limits of Berkeley, and you got to show your liberal card before you get to go in there to go home every night. Is that what we're saying right now?
Listen, I live in California, and there are plenty of conservatives here. It is certainly a blue state overwhelmingly, but that doesn't mean there's not, especially in Central California, the whole farmland. Most people don't understand. Central California is rural farmland. Most of the food you eat comes from California, and there are plenty of conservatives. I live in Lake Tahoe. The county I am in is a red county because most of it is rural California, and these idiots vote red every time. So, of course, there's fucking conservatives in California, you morons.
Yeah, and he had a blog that, we've been able to grab captions from and everything else, and it had anti-Semitic rhetoric on there and all kinds of right-wing followings of bullshit. So we know where he came from. When he first attacked the right-wing news stations, Fox News, were reporting a mugshot of a black dude, that this is the man who broke into Nancy Pelosi's home. Like, they will do anything they can to possibly just bullshit the narrative on things that happen.
Yes, it's that adage that not all Republicans are racist, but all racists are Republicans. So
yes.
They hate it when, one of the people they've been propping up and feeding their head full of bullshit actually, goes off the reservation and does something terrible. I don't know why they can't just either shut the fuck up or acknowledge, like, we got to take the temperature down a notch in this country. But they know that it's raising the temperature is getting that 40% to come vote for them. So they won't step away from it.
No, they won't. Yeah.
It would never happen the other way. If some crazy Democrat went off and bludgeoned Ted Cruz, I guarantee you, all three of us would be on the show admonishing that person. We wouldn't be making jokes about it or belittling it. Well, maybe we make some jokes because that's us. But we wouldn't be, trying to dismiss it. We wouldn't be embracing it. We wouldn't be... None of this bullshit. It is crazy.
We're better than you. We're better than you.
At what point do people just start being decent decent humans again? Why do we not see how out of control the political discourse is getting in this country?
Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy? I was like, fuck me, dude. I feel so bad for Mr. Pelosi. He had to be freaking the fuck out. Did you guys hear that when he was hit with the hammer was actually after the police were there?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had called the cops, and then by the time the cops got there, the assault was already happening, or they were outside or something. I mean, but
Actually, the cops actually witnessed Mr. Pelosi get hit with the hammer. That's how you know that the person that attacked him was white, because you know for a fact that if that actually was a black man attacking him, that he would have been shot dead immediately.
He would have been shot dead. You're right, Brewski. But from what I read and understand it to be is that when the cops did get there, there was some mix-up with the cops on the way there. When they finally got there, they said, drop the fucking hammer. And because I believe at that point they were wrestling for it, and Mr. Pelosi may have taken control of the hammer, put it down on the ground, and put their hands up. That's when this fucking white supremacist dude grabs the hammer and fucking hits him in the head in front of the cops.
Yeah. It's all completely twisted and disgusting, and I wish that I didn't think that this sort of thing was commonplace or could happen easily nowadays, but I'm surprised it hasn't been happening more. I'm surprised there hasn't been more assassinations, and I think we're probably ramping into the worst of it as we're
on the
the
precipice,
midterms
dude.
and the 2024 elections, and we're seeing these armed idiots guarding ballot boxes, and I mean, the January 6th riot where they were looking for Nancy, and now, I'm sure there are people that are trying to carry on that torch, and it's insanity. It's literally insanity.
Speaking of the ballot box people down in Arizona, a spokesperson for them was on Alex Jones' show today and was complaining that the police were harassing the people who were observing the ballot boxes and telling them that they couldn't be armed and near the ballot boxes and that sort of thing, and that they were victims.
Right.
And,
they think
and
their rights are being stepped on.
Yeah, that they're just patriots trying to do their duty.
Yeah, it's so freaking crazy, dude. Anyone who doesn't think that is a form of intimidation, what are you doing here, dude? Please go home. You didn't give a fuck about this 5 years ago. You never voted until 5 years ago.
Right. It is domestic terrorism. I mean, that's what terrorism is, to try to terrify people and scare them into doing what you want them to do.
Yeah,
completely. Yeah, no, it's really gross, dude. And it happened in my mother's town. And she asked me, oh, will you drop off my ballot when you drop yours off? And I made a comment of, yeah, I'll do that. I wonder if there'll be the armed people down there at the ballot boxes.
You're putting 2 ballots in there, man. You're going to get your ass kicked. So
I was actually putting 3 in because I had Rachel's with me too. And
this
she
is
was
how
like,
we win, right? It's all fraud.
It's all how we do it. But my mom was like, what are you talking about? Armed men at ballot boxes. I was like, oh yeah, they were here last year. I mean, I'm sure they'll be there again. Huh?
And I'm trying to think of
Black Diamond, dude.
Oh, I was thinking Milton or Hobart or something like that.
No, a little tiny town.
Yeah.
A pocket of conservatives, I suppose. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
For the state of affairs in this country and where things are going to go.
Yeah.
And especially if Republicans keep losing. I mean, we have so many ballot deniers running in various states to be Secretary of State or, local officials. And, just this whole new mentality of we're just going to say we won no matter what. I mean, it couldn't be more un-American, yet we have people openly embracing it and trying to just shove, falsehoods through as the truth. And
because they know that,
stops.
But because they know that their voters are dying off and not being replaced.
Yes.
And they don't have any good ideas. And so they have to find ways to cheat to stay in power because they know that nobody believes in what they're spouting anymore.
Listen, if they actually believed their own bullshit, they wouldn't be voting because they would think the whole system is rigged, that us Democrats have figured out how to rig the system. So if you believe that to be true, why are you bothering with voting? They obviously know it's bullshit. So they're just, again, it's terrorism. They're trying to use fear and intimidation to bully you out of voting. And
yep.
I don't know, man. If that doesn't encourage the left and the center to unite in this country, then I seriously don't know what will.
Oh, dude, the political ads just locally that are playing here right now are just killing me. I mean, and I mean, I guess from both sides, I'm just so sickened with politics in general. But I mean, these Republican ads are just unbelievable. The things that they claim and the scare tactics that they use for older people, especially. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
just really gross, dude.
That's the other thing. Why do Republicans why can't they zoom out a notch and see that they're being played? Your candidates aren't talking to you about any sort of new ideas or change, reform, or anything beneficial. They're just trying to scare the shit out of you. You
That's
don't
all it
see
is.
that?
Well, they don't have time to see it, dude. They're too scared. I mean, or the people are out just committing crimes and not going to jail for them. And, all these terrible things are happening all over the nation. They don't have time to be afraid.
They're being made afraid by the other. And it's
Yeah.
always the other that's taking something away that could go to you. Like you'll hear seniors when you tell seniors about how the Republicans want to take away Social Security and Medicare. And the first thing they would say is, well, if we didn't have so many damn illegals here with, taking all this money from the government, then they could just focus on spending money on Social Security.
Yeah,
and it's
right.
like, and that's the message that,
I know.
they get all the time. And they believe it, which is ridiculous. And it doesn't make any sort of logical sense at all. It doesn't.
I love the notion that illegals are going to take your job. So you have a job that somebody with no education and can barely speak the language can just take from you? What kind of job is that?
Yeah, that's always a good one. Oh, all the jobs that you don't. Yeah, exactly.
And by the way, are Mexicans lazy or are they taking your jobs? Because you can't have it both ways. Those are the
Exactly.
stereotypes I hear. Oh, they're lazy, but they're going to take your job. Well, you can't do both. Okay.
I'll tell you what, dude. Just let the Mexican workers keep doing the jobs that you have no desire to do for any amount of money, so this country still exists.
Yes, farms over the last few years have had a terrible time trying to hire people because the Americans don't want to do it. They need the immigrants to come in and do this work. But when we were clamping down the borders and then COVID hit, all of a sudden, hey, there's no one to pick the apples. Like, this is a real problem. So
yeah, it's a big problem.
But again, we're trying to apply logic to these arguments, and you can't. You know?
You cannot, dude. People are going to have to find out one way or another, and it's not the way that we think they probably should. It's going to take too long, dude. It's going to take too long and something drastic to happen, and we're all going to suffer because of your stupidity and how long it took you to get on the train of just doing the right thing.
Yes. One of the Chick-fil-A comments we've gotten this past week is that liberalism is something like you liberals treat, your politics like religion. And I really take offense to that because religion is blind faith. It's believing in fairy tales, believing in something somebody tells you and tells you, don't overthink this. Just go with what I'm telling you. Liberalism is based on logic. It's based on facts. It's based on research. It's based on, things that are tangible. I've said for years to being a liberal is just being logical. I believe in science. I don't think minorities should be discriminated against. I don't think gay people should be discriminated against. Those are logical things to say. Religion is the opposite. It's just blind faith, and that's what your conservative bullshit is based on. You trying to fit into your narrative, not the other way around.
Very true, Steve. It's very true.
Thank you.
Hey, did you see that after that whole Pelosi thing that Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted out like, wait for tomorrow night?
No,
you ain't seen nothing yet. Wait for tomorrow night or something like that. I was
actually
like,
she tweeted that out the day before the Pelosi thing happened.
She did?
Yes, it was before the Pelosi thing. She said, "Wait till tomorrow night."
Dude,
Hobbit feet, by the way. That's it. Just refer to her as Hobbit feet.
Hobbit feet?
Yes.
She has feet made for a hobbit?
There was a picture of her at some political gala thing, and she wore open-toed shoes. And let's just say my feet look better than her feet did in those shoes, and my feet look like typical guy feet.
Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene,
Hobbit feet.
She's getting divorced, and I don't want to laugh at anyone's divorce, but what took the husband so long to realize how batshit crazy your wife is?
Yeah,
well,
she was nuts.
Well, she was cheating on him before she went to D.C. Can you imagine what happened when she got to D.C.?
God, can you imagine the guy swiping right on her?
Yeah, exactly.
What are you doing, Brewski? What was that?
He's simulating forced oral sex, I believe.
No, not forced.
Not forced, consensual. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
For what reason? She was doing a lot of oral sex?
She's probably doing a lot more than that. That's for damn sure. Her and Bulbert, both of them.
All right. Oh.
Well, who's it? Jim Jordan? No. Who was
Smoking a lot of pole.
That was talking about these, Democratic sex parties. Oh, no, he threw Republicans under it too. That there's
that was
orgies.
Madison Cawthorn.
Thank you. Yes, that he was, saying there's orgies going on in the Capitol building.
Wow.
Madison Cawthorn, who, by the way, likes to talk about being a college graduate. The college that he got into accepts 95% of the students that they get, and he got kicked out after one semester with a D- average.
Wow.
Booyah.
Speaking of college and ignorance, and Brewski being the big sports fanatic, Brewski, what's the deal with my Wolverines and the Spartans this past weekend?
Oh, that was just dumb. What happened was they allowed the two teams to exit the tunnel at the same time.
After the game was over, and the Spartans got their asses kicked, of course.
Well, yeah, and actually 4 Spartans actually were suspended indefinitely until the an investigation is completed, and there were some players who were arrested.
Fight in the tunnel with
arrested.
4 Spartans beat the crap out of a Wolverine.
Well, there was swinging helmets and everything. Oh. Now the thing about it is now the kid from Michigan, he ran up on them and started, shaking his ass at them after they got beat down by the Wolverines.
Smack talking in sports, that's a thing.
Yeah. And Steve, this is a huge rivalry.
Big rivalry, yeah.
Big rivalry. And he was shaking his ass at them, and next thing you know, they started swinging their helmets at him.
Yeah, but the Spartans were all in full gear still. They had their helmets on, their pads on, and the Wolverine had taken off his shoulder pads, his helmet, and they're just pulling the guy in the tunnel.
Yeah.
And now the Wolverine is saying he's going to press charges. MSU has suspended these 4 players. I think they should kick them right the fuck out of the college. I mean,
absolutely.
Leave that shit on the field. It's one thing to get in a fight on the field and have the refs break it up, but in the tunnel afterwards, you're beating the crap out of each other. And 4-on-1, you fucking pussies. I mean, come on.
Well, and here's the other thing that makes it even worse is that Michigan State has had an awful season.
And by the way, I know MSU is terrible in math, so maybe you didn't understand the 4-on-1 was wrong, but it's basic mathematics.
Oh.
It's right over their heads. Sorry.
But what I was going to say is they've had a really awful season. And, the Huskies beat the hell out of them and just embarrassed them in Seattle.
Yeah.
And every other game this year, they've just been getting destroyed. And their head coach is feeling the heat because he got a big deal 2 years ago. And it was like a 5-year deal. And it's not looking so good there. And,
see what you've done here. See what you've done here. I mean, this is a terrible, terrible event.
How do you make football more violent? Leave it up to the Spartans to somehow, cross a line where people are like, hold on now, you fucking idiots.
Yeah, it got really, really ugly. Really ugly.
Yeah. Well, I hope the fallout gets worse. I hope these idiots are suspended permanently, thrown out of the school in general. So.
Yeah,
Brewski was actually at that game. He was working, but he was at that game. I think we have audio from when he was there.
Ice cold bear. It's Cousin Brewski. Buy a dozen from the cousin.
Oh yeah.
I hope you were there,
Brewski. I mean, you saw it firsthand, dude.
No. Well, fun stuff.
Fun stuff indeed. Hey, dude,
now that I'm completely depressed between medical issues and the state of our country. What else can we talk about?
You want to talk about something fantastic and delightful?
Sure.
This is something that we thought, this is the future. It was like watching the Jetsons when you were a child. Marijuana is setting to be distributed at Circle K gas stations now. I don't know if you remember this, but when pot started to become legal, you were like, oh, so you'll just be able to walk into a gas station someday and be like, I'll take a pack of marbles and a couple of joints. Yeah. On Friday, the people over at Circle K announced that they'll be selling marijuana at select locations in Florida. They are offering a venture partnership with Circle K to open weed emporiums. As of now,
gas stations aren't robbed enough.
Yeah, well, this is the interesting thing. We were talking about a couple of weeks ago, like how terribly these pot shops are regulated and they can only take cash and all that, and they're getting robbed.
Because they're legal on state levels, but illegal federally, and the banking system is a federal thing.
That's right. So they are actually going to be right next door to Circle K gas stations. I was like, that's not really in Circle K gas stations, but they have some sort of partnership. So you could go to them all at once, but they are separate doors. So they're not really affiliated, but they're going to be next door to all Circle Ks. But they're starting with a group of 10. And in Florida, weed's not legal unless you have a medical card.
Oh, it's still medical only, not recreational.
Correct. Yeah.
So that's even weirder.
So yeah, you have to walk in and show your medical card at this place. It seems like you're putting the cart before the horse.
It just seems like a marketing scam to say that there's a place next door that could have been next door anyways. But
yeah,
so a gas station, a dispensary. If they added a brothel, you could go with the old gas, grass, or ass. That could just be their
one-stop shop, dude.
That could be one-stop shopping.
Nobody rides for free.
Right. So all hitchhikers could just wait out in front of those 3 locations. Offer any 3. Gas, grass, or ass. You should sell that at your next stadium game, Brewski. Gas, grass, or ass. Gas, grass, or ass. What do you got here? Aisle 3? What do you want? Ass? Okay. Right?
Brewski's busy at the stadiums, dude. Well, so yeah, maybe something great is to follow. Who knows? It's a start anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I've been, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, if it's going to be in gas stations, grocery stores, but it has to get there someday. And I will say, whoever it is, the FDA or whatever, it has somewhat officially started looking at declassifying it from a level 1 narcotic so that it can, be investigated, researched more, and, start to mainstream this. But enough already. Let's just kick this into gear.
Kind of like it's kind of like those bank branches inside the supermarkets.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
We could get there. All right.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I was going to ask you guys, have you guys ever had somebody at your office steal your lunch or steal food or, take something that they shouldn't have or anything like that?
Good question. I mean, there's the famous story of me leaving my bag of pot in the radio station studio, and the boss stole it from me and flushed it down the toilet. I don't know if that counts. I've never been one to leave food in the old work fridge, so I've never had that happen. I'm trying to think about that. Like, has anyone ever stolen from me at work? That's really
you don't ever really bring your food to work, dude, that I remembered.
No.
I mean, I've had people. I had a guy who was a regular guest on a show that I used to run the board for, who a couple times stole my sub that was sitting in the refrigerator. They had my name on it. And one time I happened to walk into the kitchen, and he's sitting there eating my sub with in the paper has my name on it. And he's like, "Oh, I thought this was just for anybody." And
anyone named Jason.
Yeah, exactly. But
I will say, Nick and I found one of our coworkers passed out in the break room with his pants off. I felt violated for having to see that, but he didn't steal my sandwich.
Who was that, dude?
Oh, come on. Well, I don't think you should be saying it.
Well, there could be a lot of those people out there, dude. Come on.
Note here just to protect the innocent. Hour and 32 minutes.
I'm sorry.
Yes, it was him. Of course, it was him.
Okay, all right.
So, but the reason why I asked that is because a story came out recently where Chevy Chase said that when he and Belushi were on Saturday Night Live, Chevy, when they were doing rehearsal, he left his special bottle of cocaine with the screw cap on a piano out on the stage, and that Belushi stole it. And he knows that Belushi stole it because about 2 weeks later he was at Belushi's house, and he happened to notice his little cocaine thing,
his special vial
sitting on top of a shelf at Belushi's house. And it was, sure enough, it was empty. And so
well, first of all, on the set of Saturday Night Live, if you're leaving coke laying around, you should assume somebody's going to take it, somebody's
going to
sell it, whatever. And that is similar to my story of losing pot at the radio station, actually. So yeah, that's so classic though. If you steal someone's drugs, who are they going to complain to?
Although Pete Davidson told a story that Louis C.K. went to Lorne Michaels and tried to get him fired because Louis C.K. thought Pete Davidson was smoking too much weed. Yeah, and Yeah, and Lauren Michaels called Pete Davidson in for a talk, and he said, Louis thinks that you got a problem.
Yeah, well, at least he's not jerking off in front of everybody, Louis.
That
By
we
the
know
way,
of.
I think Louis C.K. is hilarious, so I'm so ashamed
Yeah.
that he had to go and tarnish his reputation with this whole I like to jerk off in front of people. But, yeah,
Oh,
no,
I thought you were
you'd
gonna
be
say-
admonishing.
I thought you were going to say he tarnished his reputation by narking on Pete Davidson.
Right. That's even, I don't know, which is worse, being a rat or being a public jerker offer. But
Yeah, if you really thought he had a problem, why wouldn't you go to him and be like, hey, you're smoking a lot lately, man. Maybe you should pull it back. He went to his boss.
yeah,
he went
jealous of a young comedian making his way up.
Yeah, he went to
Shitty.
Lauren Michaels to say, I think this guy's smoking way too much weed.
Mhm.
Wow. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
little shitty, Louis.
Well, speaking of prison, should I give my latest update on my new BFF, Charlie?
Yeah, I think that we should hear it. You teased me via text today, and he said, I got a Charlie update, Brewski, and should be rather good. He's got some update about me, which I'm so curious to know, dude. He's got a review on me, which means he's still listening to the program, right?
Well, that's good.
Yes. Well, so
Well-
here's the deal. And first of all, he's been blowing up my phone during this show. I keep minimizing him over here, so I'll get to these texts later. But yeah, so here's the deal. So Charlie is the boyfriend of my ex-wife, and this is the guy that we found out. I found out through brutal terms that he was out on parole for murder when he and my ex-wife started dating, and that was a tad shocking to me at the time. And they didn't tell me. A private investigator showed up at my house that someone had hired. It was a whole convoluted thing, but. We had a bit of a rough start to our relationship, but due to the bullshit traumas that I've been through this summer, both Jamie and Charlie have been nothing but good to me and shown me nothing but humanity and friendship and civility. And so we've all buried the hatchet. And we've been doing family stuff together and hanging out, and that's all good. A good tight family circle is a good thing, and that was always my goal. But this whole, out on parole for murder thing sort of threw me for a loop. Understandably, right? Would anyone else
Sure.
find that odd?
Of course.
Okay. But everyone kept telling me, like, he's reformed, he's a good guy. And I'm like, well, then why didn't you all just tell me the shit on day one instead of making me find it out months later and all this? But
If you would have found out the appropriate way, you still would have had some concerns, right?
yeah, of course. But that would have put the burden on me to believe in second chances and
Sure.
rehabilitation. And you came to me and you were honest, so that would have done a lot. And Charlie has since told me, like, the way we told you was wrong. We shouldn't have done it that way. We should have just told you.
Yeah.
So it's been good. We buried that hatchet, and we've been doing, like I said, a lot of family stuff together. And Charlie has become a fan of the vocal minority. He's been listening to all the podcasts. But we had a little incident a month or so ago where, I don't know, Charlie was listening to every show, and then he started doing a bunch of research on me, like internet stuff and pulling court filings, anything he could possibly find. And
Waist and pant size.
yeah, and I kind of told him, like, okay, we're starting to cross a little bit of a line here, right? Like, you can take your internet research down a notch. And as part of that, he had said, like, basically, like, all right, like, I'm sorry, like, it wasn't, I didn't mean to cross any lines. But he's looking out for his new woman. He was doing some research on me to make sure I'm not some crazy person.
He needed to know that you were a 32 long.
Yes. So, he crossed a bit of a line, and we had a discussion about it. And he basically said, like, I'm going to stop listening to the show. I'm going to back off on, Facebook, looking into all this kind of stuff, right? And so I was like, I appreciate it. Both he and Jamie handled it, again, in a mature, communicative sort of way. So I said, I get it. You got a little infatuated with what I'm up to. So all is well and good. So, but he stopped listening to the show for a period of time there. And it was right at the show where I had said on air that, have you ever been in a Metallica video, Charlie? I'm dying to know, were you in a Metallica video? Because Charlie was in San Quentin for 22 years. And about 19, 20 years ago, Metallica filmed a video in San Quentin, and it featured the inmates. They did a performance in the yard, and they did one inside the main, jailhouse, and they had a bunch of inmates in it. So I had been dying for like a year to ask this guy, have you ever been in a Metallica video? But, our relationship wasn't that good, and I thought the question may come out of right field. So I had asked it on this show, like, have you been in this Metallica video? So I get a text from Charlie the other day, and he says, by the way, yes, I've been in the Metallica video.
Really?
Yeah, Nice.
Now, I asked him, like, did you make it on camera? Like, did you ever watch the final thing? And he was like, I got to be honest with you, I haven't actually watched the video because it was like 20 years ago, and it wasn't apparently on his first thing getting out of jail to go look at the video. So one of the questions I asked him, like, well, at some point, like, pull it up on YouTube, and are you in it? You know, how many of these guys do you know? But yeah, he was there for the Metallica show. He got to watch him play. So this guy being in San Quentin got a better Metallica show that I've ever had, having seen these guys, you know, a dozen times in my life. So
did he say it was fantastic?
What did he say? He I got a few texts here I'd have to go back through, but
I mean, the overall tone of it, what did he enjoy? I mean, it wasn't just, I was in it.
Well, listen, I mean, if you're in San Quentin and fucking Wang Chung shows up, I would imagine would be the highlight of your prison sentence, to have any real, you know, performer show up. So, yeah, he seemed to think it was pretty cool that he got to see Metallica. And then I'm a Metallica fan, and now this is something that he can be like, hey, man, I've been in a video, saw him up close and personal.
I wonder if, and this is an honest question, I wonder if he fears to go back and watch it, if it'll be triggering for him to see the inside of that prison again, you know?
It's a good question. Or to see other, you know, cellmates or whatever.
Sure.
And Charlie, you know, he keeps telling me, he says right here, let's see here. It's interesting because people believe San Quentin is the serious hardcore prison. It is not. It's actually the Disneyland of prisons. And this is something that I have a hard time pushing back on because the guy spent 22 years there.
Sure.
But as I told my ex-wife, and as I told him in one of my later texts here, like, you know, no offense, but first of all, the start of the Metallica video is a prison guard telling the members of Metallica that if you get taken hostage in there, we do not negotiate for hostage release. You know, so you're signing a thing saying if you get taken hostage in there, you're fucked. We're not coming in there to get you.
It's part of the video, dude.
I know, but it's a real speech that they were giving the Metallica guys that we have.
I don't know if it was real. You don't think it was scripted?
No. I mean, go watch the video. I mean, it appears
I've seen it.
It would be really corny if that was staged.
Well, people do all kinds of corny shit in videos, dude.
Well, I suppose. But as I also told Charlie, like, if you Google worst prisons in America, every list, San Quentin is in the top 3. It's behind like some supermax prison in Colorado, and you know, so it's a well-held reputation. He's telling me that 30 years ago that was true, but that San Quentin's gone through all these reforms and blah blah blah. So I don't know. I'm not going to tell the guy he's wrong. He has more experience there than I do, but certainly that's the reputation.
Well, it's not like it's Pelican Bay. That's supposed to be like the place in California where you don't want to go.
Yeah, and by the way, I can't imagine any prison is actually like Disneyland or fun. Yeah. Like, it's a prison, so obviously it's got to be hardcore at some level. And I would think San Quentin just being a huge prison. And he did make the point, though, that right here, it says death row is a separate part of the prison. Those are those there do not interact with the general population. I think he's saying the death row section, maybe that's pretty fucking hardcore, but that's not where he was. And maybe that's where the reputation comes from. So I don't know.
Imagine, dude. I can't imagine being in any wing of San Quentin. But I mean, if he says it's a Disneyland, that's obviously in relation to as far as prisons go.
Right.
So I mean, that could mean anything, right?
Yeah. And waiting in line at Disneyland, that is sort of hellish. So maybe, you know, not such a great comparison, but I don't know. Nick, he answered one of your questions, though. He says that I have seen Scott Peterson.
You have? Oh. I knew it, dude. I knew it.
So Scott Peterson, the guy that, you know, famously killed his wife and claimed 1,000,000 times over to be innocent, he's in San Quentin, and he says, and I hope it's not terrible I'm reading his text. I'm sorry, Charlie, if this is a violation, but I'm just skimming through them. So he says, I have seen Scott
skimming
Peterson.
through them, reading them word for word.
Right. I mean, I'm just being accurate and honest here. I don't want to.
I understand.
So he says, I have seen Scott Peterson. I thought that he was a douchebag. Never met him, but the way he walked while under escort was embarrassing. So he was being escorted around the prison because he's one of the more famous inmates, I guess. So
sure, yeah. Well, I would imagine he is a douchebag, dude. He cut his pregnant wife's head off. I mean, I think that's the first sign. Is he a douchebag?
I wonder if he's in the shoe.
What's the shoe? Like solitary? Is that what that is?
No, secure housing unit. So it's not really solitary, but it's like
Steve. Come on.
I watched a little lockup. What can I say? You know,
fucking shoe. I wonder if he's in shoe. Of course, Brewski, he's in shoe. Come on.
Unlike
Well,
my
that's-
ex-wife, I'm not obsessed with, serial killer dramas and prison datelines and all this stuff. And,
You didn't watch Oz?
you know what? I actually did watch Oz, and that was a horrific show and part of probably my preconceptions of why prison life must be terrible. And he said in here somewhere, Nick, like, I don't blame you for asking the question. It's certainly not out of the norm that something like that would happen in prisons, but no, never happened to me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
I have a question. Maybe we can throw it. He can listen.
He can listen and answer Brewski's question now.
Yeah.
Okay, and I
This
have
is
a
a
couple
fun
of
way
more.
we're all
okay?
interacting.
Wait a minute, was Charlie Manson at that prison?
No, he's Southern California, Charlie Manson.
No,
He's not in San Quentin, Charlie
he-
Manson.
he's dead, but I don't know what prison he was in. I'm just curious.
Is
whether he was
Manson
in it.
dead? I missed that.
Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah, damn, Charles Manson died. But why don't you Google it right now, Brewski?
I'm
He
on
was
it
not
right
in
now.
San Quentin. I know that. He was in some Southern California prison.
He was in Corcoran.
Okay.
Okay,
There you go.
he was in Corcoran. So no, he
Oh,
wasn't.
that's what I thought. Had to be Corcoran. Okay.
Now, and Nick, I told you that Charlie offered up a review of you. So here you go.
Oh, there's more? That wasn't the. I thought he just answered great questions. Okay, go ahead.
No, he did answer your Scott Peterson
He
question.
did.
He did see him. He did answer my Metallica question.
Yeah,
All
he's
Metallica.
answered. Yeah.
But then he says, tell Nikki, and he calls you Nikki, which I think is nice. He says, tell Nikki hi, and I did appreciate the apology. He was right to assume that kind of thing happens. Not a huge leap there, just never happened to me. I like Nick. I think he's hilarious.
Oh, that's
Nice.
nice.
Aw.
See, look at that, dude. This
He's
circle.
clearly
of-
been listening. I mean,
The circle of love is just expanding. I mean, it really is.
Okay, but is this really a shock? I mean, doesn't everybody love Nick?
well, yeah, I've said this before. Nick has this ability to just strike up conversations with people in public, and they just immediately love him. And I know why, because you're a good person, but I don't. Yeah, you just have this vibe with people. They just love you right away.
Well, that's nice.
I think that's why everyone thinks I'm a dick, because you just outshine me so infinitely that by proxy, I'm just an asshole. Cause
Well,
seems to
and
be the
don't
reputation.
for a minute think that I haven't used that to my benefit, Steve.
yeah, no, for sure.
Well, that I think
Bad cop and angel cop.
Nick's Nick's power to get people to love him only serves to prove even more how much an asshole Dave.
Oh boy, no.
God,
Let's
Brewski.
dial this back a notch. We still have careers.
Listen,
Not
I
in
was
that
thinking
industry
it's
anymore.
funny that you bring that name up because I was actually like, I
That
don't
guy
know, just
hates
a
me
few
by the way
days.
already.
You what?
What-
I said that guy hates me already. So
How about we just say
Oh,
cue ball? Can we just say cue ball?
yeah, that's fine. Sure.
Okay.
Go ahead,
Uh,
Nick. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was thinking about this whole scenario that happened, just a couple of days ago, and it's interesting that I still think about that. But I think to myself, why I had lost everything in one fell swoop with my job and the show being taken off the air. I don't understand why I didn't stay and fight. I don't understand why I didn't blow up and have them have to escort me out of the building. Like I had nothing to lose. Why did I not blow up on that man?
I don't know. You still have the rest
Nick-
of your career to worry about. So
Well, but
get it.
I can kind of answer that for you, Nick, because when I walked into the building that day,
Yeah.
as I was walking into the lobby, you and Marissa happened to be walking out of the elevators, and I said your name 3 times very loudly, and you just had this look of bewilderment on your face, like you had no idea what the hell was going to happen next. And that's when I knew that things. I mean, I already knew going into the building how bad things were going to be based upon what I had been hearing on the radio. But to see you in that moment, as I did, I can see why you didn't blow up at him, Nick. I mean, you just looked like you didn't know your own name.
Well,
I
and it
felt
took us
like I
all
got hit by a truck, dude.
And we did, and it took us all a while to figure out the extent of it. Like, do we lose our entire show, our entire jobs? It was a mystifying day. And for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, the show you're listening to now used to be a radio show, and in one fell swoop one day, the station flipped formats, and we lost our jobs. And the company did a terrible job informing us of that. We just turned on the radio and heard country music on our talk station, and so it was a head spinning day. But do you remember the time we were sitting in Dave's office and he went off on me, or did he ask you to leave and then he yelled at me? Maybe that's what it was.
You must have asked me to leave, dude. I'd never let you be yelled at just by yourself.
I think so.
No, if I was there, I would have said something.
Here's the thing, he was a nice enough guy, I suppose, but he didn't come from programming. He was the only program director I've ever known that didn't come from programming. He had never been on air himself. And the one time I heard him on air that day announcing the format change, he was stumbling and fumbling. He sounded terrible on air. He was a promotions guy that somehow, I'll never understand what body he knows where is buried of some executive, but they made him program director. And I really had a hard time.
A large station in a large market.
Yes. A couple stations. It was the rock station and the talk station. And I had a hard time when he would sit there and critique our show and tell us, well, why'd you say this one thing? Or why didn't you make the joke this way? Like, it's a 3-hour talk show and you're criticizing like one sentence I said from somebody who could never do it themselves. And I took offense. And there was one meeting where he made some, I remember what it was. I made a joke about Brown University. And I said that if you've never heard of Brown, it's because you're too stupid to get into it. And he must have been denied from Brown because he did not like that I made that joke. And
he lost it on you, huh?
Well, he criticized it, and then we kept having our meeting where he, was doing the rest of his critiques. And I have some ability I've never quite understood, but I do this, and I did it to a teacher once that it just rattled her. I can just sit there and stare at you, and I won't make faces. I will just sit there and stare at you. And somehow people know, like, he's shooting lasers through the back of my head. And so
how do they know, dude? I mean, your stare is enough to scare a frog off a lily pad, dude.
Apparently it is. Because normally if you sit there quietly in a meeting, that's what you're supposed to do. But I was just staring at him. I locked eyes and I just never let it break for the entire meeting. And at the end of the meeting, I do recall, he said, Nick, can you go ahead and step outside? And he stepped out, and Nick, you stepped outside, and he looked at me and he was like, you ever fucking stare at me like that again, I will throw you out of this building so fucking fast. I don't know who the fuck you think you are sitting here in my goddamn office. Like, he went off on me.
I do remember it. Yeah, I do remember it, dude. I do remember it. I did get kicked out of the room.
Yeah, he was pissed at me, man. So, oops, burned that bridge, I guess. And
well, you know what?
He kept working there for a long time still after that interaction.
Yeah, but he's the most famous program director who told us, like, I didn't really like your show. I didn't really like your show when I got your air check. Yes. But yeah, now that I've heard you on the air, somebody told him to listen to it, didn't they?
It was his boss that told him to listen to it because we were on a station in Baltimore, Maryland.
That's right.
That program director got promoted higher up into the company that we were all working for Intercom. And this guy basically called up the program director, Dave, at the Buzz and said, hey, there's this phenomenal show coming up. And I had them on in Baltimore. They're in Seattle. They're in your town. Like, why don't you get them on the local station? So, yeah, he had to be told about us. And then, he put us on, and, the rest is history. But
and then he had the focus group on us, right? So he does a focus group on us after we've been on
all the shows
for a while. Yeah, on all the shows. But after we've been on for a while, he does the focus group. I think it was a friend of ours who worked in the production department that taped it, or did we tape it from the production room?
Well, they were recording the audio so they could all go back and analyze it, and somebody got access to it and gave us on a CD. Here's the audio of the focus group. You should listen.
And he really, for whatever reason, I don't know if it was because the show putting us on wasn't his idea, but he was so big balling on us to fail. I mean, and that whole focus group, the questions that he was asking were just crazy. But then to find out that the audience was liking the program and wanted more of it, he was so put off by that, dude.
They were mystified by it.
Yeah, he was mystified by it because he didn't like us at all, dude.
Well, they were really doing the focus group to critique all the full-time Monday through Friday shows. And at that point, we were a weekend-only show. And, the plan was to go Monday through Friday. And they couldn't figure out, why did our name keep coming up in these focus groups? We're only on the weekends. And we were scoring as high as all the Monday through Friday shows. And Fred Jacobs, the guy that actually conducted those things, he, again, went to the program directors like, you've got something going on here. Like, how is the show that's on the weekends? They're coming in number one in the ratings. Your weekends are 20th. And then all of a sudden the vocal minority comes on and you shoot to number one. They're coming up in the group. People are saying they're funny. They want to hear more of them. Like, you got to stop ignoring this up and coming show you've got.
Yeah. And so it was
it took everyone telling him that we were good. And he still begrudgingly, wouldn't convince himself of it. It was It's crazy. But yeah, this is the story of our lives. So,
Well, if I can share something real quick. So I know from him telling me that Dave went to a school here in Massachusetts called Dean College.
yeah.
And Dean College, their acceptance rate is 70.5%, which means that they accept almost 71% of the applicants that go. Now, would you like to guess what percentage Brown University accepts?
That's a good question. 10%?
7.7% of students who apply to Brown get in.
Wow.
Whereas the school that he got into and went to has an acceptance rate of 70.5. Not exactly hard to get into.
Yeah. I'm sure
10
he did
times
get denied
greater,
at Brown.
dude.
Yeah. No, that joke really irked him. So,
Yeah.
and that was the same thing. I was talking about my gay cousin had gone to Brown, and I was defending gay people and gay equality in marriage. And he told me, like, why do you keep talking about gay people already? Like, what do you care? He was the guy that tried to get me to stop defending, marriage equality on the radio. And I said, I'm not stopping. Like, sorry.
Well, and especially in that city, in Seattle, where it was always supported, and there's such a huge, strong gay community in Seattle. You would think that this is something that we should be championing because these people are going to probably be listeners.
You remember my nickname, Nick?
Say again.
You remember the nickname I had in Seattle from all my gay equality rights speeches I gave?
What was it?
The hero of the gays.
Yeah.
I tried to tell my teenager that used to be my nickname in Seattle, and they didn't embrace that at all. But
the hero of the gays.
The hero of the gays.
There was always some sort of thought in the back of my mind when we were on the radio station. This program director was programming. He changed the format to radio for guys, right? And I understood the concept of it, who we were going for, but there were oftentimes now, especially when I look back on it, I think to myself, that whole radio for guys thing, dude, was
pretty sexist, huh?
Pretty sexist, and like just calling out, gaslighting some of the Trump supporters of this season. I feel like a lot of them would have listened to that radio station. Do you know what I mean?
And we had plenty of female callers, by the way. So
yeah.
No, it was a great station, but they blew it up because talk radio became too controversial and country music's easier. So,
Especially when you program it like a hot AC station and you appeal to all the, suburban moms that,
Yes. So, fuck country music.
Yeah.
All right.
Speaking of fucking country music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about this Luke Bryan thing this weekend? Have you seen this?
Yeah, he had Ron DeSantis come up on stage with him, Trump Jr.
He did?
Yeah.
He did. And what Luke Bryan said after the fact, when everybody lost it on him, was, I was raised that when the governor of the state asked if they could come on stage, especially to raise money for a natural disaster, that you don't say no to them.
Yeah.
And
is that really, though? I wonder.
No, but my thing is if Luke Bryan goes on stage, and if he goes up there and starts talking about we need to raise money for hurricane relief and that sort of, he's going to raise a lot more money than if he's got Ron DeSantis sitting next to him. He doesn't need DeSantis to be up there with him.
Yeah, he's the big star, right? Who gives a fuck about any governor that's going to be up there? It's the big stars there. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that was him deflecting because he supports Ron DeSantis's policies and doesn't want to say it. And he just wants to give the excuse of, we were there trying to raise money for hurricane relief. Well, buddy, you could have done it all on your own. You didn't need him next to you.
Totally true. And he got the backlash. And then I'm sure this is his excuse, as to why he did it. And, it's funny, again, these Chick-fil-A comments we're getting tons of likes, which those are the liberals, obviously, that like the video, but it's all the conservative douchebags that are commenting on there. And one of the comments I saw was, what would happen if us conservatives boycotted all of the pro-gay businesses? And my answer is you wouldn't be able to eat anywhere, fly anywhere, go to a sporting event, go to a concert, because most people are progressive and liberal and either support gay rights or at least don't speak out against it. So I
Yeah.
would challenge you conservatives, go ahead, stop going to anything that is pro-gay, as you call it, because you're not going to Major League Baseball games anymore. You're not flying on any airline anymore. There is so much you will not be able to do with your lives if you
You've
want
only got a handful of concerts you'll still be able to enjoy. And you'll be enjoying Chick-fil-A and Papa John's, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, they kicked him out actually.
Oh, they did? He's out?
Oh, he's been out. Yeah. Shaquille O'Neal is the big name. He's not even on the board anymore or anything.
Good.
They got Shaquille O'Neal, who now owns a lot of Papa John's franchises on top of the 155 Five Guys Burgers franchises that he owns.
Talk about Shaquille doing it right, dude. And I don't know if you guys saw speaking of Luke Bryan, and he's doing the American music award show with Peyton Manning. Why is Peyton Manning getting all these jobs lately of hosting mainstream shit that has nothing to do with sports?
Well, because he did so good on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
And I will say he was pretty funny.
He was good, dude, but I don't
on
understand
SNL.
why he's now a staple in the community of doing award shows.
Well,
That's weird.
Because also he has a production company now called Omaha Productions.
Oh,
And they're doing all sorts of stuff for ESPN and also non sports related things too. Kind of like how LeBron was one of the executive producers of that TV show The Wall. It was that game show where it was basically
Yeah.
like a ripoff of Plinko, but you did it with
Right.
dodgeballs. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was they're all getting into that now.
Peyton's got this new game show, quiz show that's on TV, and I can't remember the name of it, but I think it's something championships, and they do it like 3 students come out from a college and take on 3 other students from a college in quiz Jeopardy-like questions, and it's a pretty good show. I find myself recording it, so he's doing something, but I'm confused by the whole Peyton Manning thing.
Well, I mean, yeah, the Saturday Night Live did him well. He's famous and he's got this good, simple folk sort of delivery, probably because he's been hitting the head 500 times.
He's
but-
likable.
Yeah, but that also raises a good point. I think a lot of athletes have realized, like, all right, my 20s or my early to mid 30s was the peak of my life, peak of my earning potential. But now I got to live another 40 or 50 years and the paychecks aren't coming in anymore. So they're realizing you got to be an entrepreneur now. You got to take that money and parlay it into something. Otherwise, you're just going to burn through it.
It's like the majority of radio people becoming real estate agents. You know what I mean? Like
Or used car salesman, yes. That's a common thing. You leave radio and you sell real estate and cars.
Yeah.
So right now, as of 2022, Peyton Manning has a net worth of $250 million.
Good for him, dude. He's done
Which is
well.
good, but, if you keep living that, sports star lifestyle, that money does start to burn through, so.
Yeah.
I mean, how many athletes have you heard about that in their 40s and 50s, all of a sudden they're broke? You hear about it all the time.
Well, ESPN did a whole TV show on it called Broke, and it's really interesting. But what a lot of people don't understand when athletes get big contracts is how much that they pay in taxes, because
And agents and all, yeah.
Oh no, but the thing about it is that you don't just pay taxes in the state where your team is. So if you go to New York and you play the Giants or the Jets, you have to pay income tax in that state because technically you earn that money in that state.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cry me a river, dude.
I was gonna say, on one level, yeah, cry me a river, but it is the truth though. Like I made $100 million, but yeah, taxes, agents, your lifestyle, that stack starts to dwindle.
But the lifestyle part of it is what that TV show Broke focused on, the kinds of things that they were buying, and also the people that as soon as you get the money, all of a sudden everybody comes out and wants to hook on like a barnacle and just start milking you for everything that they possibly can,
I think I'd be great at deflecting people asking me for money. I think I'd be really good at it.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
I've seen some documentaries about lottery winners that say my life became miserable. Every friend, family member, everyone's hitting me up and the money goes quickly. And so, yeah, it's careful.
Answer me this, dude. And be honest about the answer you give me. If I won $10 million, would either of you come and ask me for money?
No. I mean, if I was in just desperate, dire straits, something catastrophic happening, maybe. But even then, I'd feel like a turd. So, no, I wouldn't just hit you up because you won. No.
No.
And see, that's
But you're a
you
dick if you
surround
don't give me
yourself with
something.
greedy bastards, dude. Just don't be surrounded by greedy freaking people.
Yeah. Well, we had a philanthropist here in Lake Tahoe that worked with our radio station that basically it was this nice old lady who was dying, and she had millions and millions of dollars, and she had no relatives, nobody to give it to. So she just started giving away her money all over town.
A ton of money too. We're not talking about peanuts. We're talking about millions.
Oh, like $40-50 million. And she was giving away on our radio station just $500 at a pop. Call 9, $500, $500. I mean, we gave away $250,000 to listen, through this philanthropist. And, but they experienced the same thing. Like, we started having people showing up at the radio station, waiting for them in the hallway, constantly hitting them up at the, the grocery store or wherever. Like, they started to feel the burden of, we put ourselves out there as being generous, but now people are just constantly.
When do I get my 500? Where's my 500?
And hitting up with false stories too. My brother has cancer and I need money for it. You don't have a fucking brother. Like, so yeah, you start giving away money, whether it's the lottery or because you're rich. Then there is a dark side to it.
Can we delve in quickly to that whole scenario of the angel?
Sure. Just be a little careful, but yeah.
Yeah, I want to say that there is a man. There is a man.
Be very careful.
Listen.
There's an underside of the story we're not going to touch.
Okay. Well,
this is the first I'm hearing about this, so.
Well, why don't you tell the story?
You be careful. What are you trying to get here?
I'm trying to, dude. I just want to talk about the angel and her partner. Am I allowed to do that?
I don't know.
All I know.
Where are you going with this story?
This is what I know, Brewski. Yeah. There is a woman that lived in Tahoe who had millions of dollars, and unfortunately, she's a widowee. Okay, she met a man who did construction work on her home. Am I allowed to talk about this, Steve? I'm not going to say anything terrible.
I don't know where you're going with this. So.
Okay, listen.
I'm going to put faith in you.
She met a man who
trying to burn bridges with multimillionaires still living in my
I'm
community.
not going to burn any bridges. This is a great story. It's actually a nice story, Bruce.
Okay, then yes, proceed. Go ahead.
She met a man who did construction work on her home, and somehow they developed a great relationship, to which I imagine kind of a grandmother-grandson relationship, okay, a trusting relationship. He became so close and an assistant in so many words that he would do construction work around the house, but he would also like go to the bank for her. He'd run into errands. He was a friend / worker. Okay. All right.
Yes.
And he made friends with this lady and had this great relationship, so much as though she got so old that she got him to start going and giving money out. Is that not true?
Okay.
You garbled out a little. So repeat your last sentence there for the audience.
She made such close friends to this guy that she gave him money to go give away to people as well, right?
Okay.
Yes. So he became her, her everything, her assistant, her medical provider. Like, he was the adult in her life, helping her make decisions and power of attorney and all that kind of stuff. Because like I said, she had nobody. So yeah, this guy was a construction worker, and I don't remember what he did, but he did some really above and beyond, like did good work for her. And he was complaining that his truck was dying. And, I can't show up Friday because my truck's, is in the shop. And so she bought him a new truck. And because of that act of generosity, he started looking out for her, and their relationship grew. And yeah, by the end of her life, he was her number one person. And most of the money in the last year or two was being given away via him. I mean, it was her money, and it was always acknowledged that it was her money, but he was, of course, he was the public face at that point.
The conduit.
We called him the guardian of the angel.
Okay.
And yeah, he was giving out a lot of the money at the end there, and yeah.
And
it's all a good story, and that's all I know.
He himself received a ton of money from her, like to set him up for life, yes. Right?
Yeah, he told me that, she told him, like, I'm going to give you all this money when I die, but I'm actually just going to give it to you now so that you don't have to work and you can just be my person. And so, yeah, I mean, this guy went from construction worker to now he's a multimillionaire himself.
Wow.
And he did everything for her, dude. He made her tea at night. He would make her,
maybe a little
24/7. He lived there. Yeah.
Maybe
tea.
Maybe a little hot.
my God,
Gentlemen,
Brewski,
gentlemen.
why would you say something like that?
No, this is where I'm not going to go with the story. Okay? There's a real person in this community that's done a lot.
No,
of
I
very
get
good
no,
stuff.
I get it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Shame
I
on
Still
you.
step in and do more good stuff for people we all know.
Nick,
So-
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
Let me see. Let me just.
I'm sorry.
How many edits
just
do I
wanna
have to
know
make in
I'm
this
sorry.
fucking show today?
I'm sorry.
There's
wanna
only
know
been
I'm sorry.
2, dude. Come on.
Do you know what
Brewski.
this-
I got 3 on my list now. So,
You
But this-
do?
This is
I've
like
got
the,
Mike, Dave, and Angel. Yes.
So this is-
So,
this is getting like the drunk show.
yes.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we won't have to make that many edits.
Everyone we've referenced today are all good, solid citizens that have lawyers, and that I don't need to add them to the list of lawyers already fucking calling me about this show. So, yeah.
All right, dude. Well,
They've done nothing but good, altruistic things. So,
Absolutely.
thumbs up.
That
Sure,
that's
any
an,
level of elder care gets into, unpleasant things, as Brewski has described on the show. So,
well, no, but I mean, it's amazing that she decided to do that sort of thing with the money to the community.
Yeah.
This guy aside, whatever. But I mean, reaching out to the community like that, that's fantastic. It's unfortunate that people decided to just become scumbags and start, accosting her and it's kind of like that whole thing when they say no good deed goes unpunished.
absolutely. And that was my original point of winning the lottery or any of this philanthropy kind of stuff. That, yeah, no good deed goes unpunished. People are always looking to scam any system, whether it's charity or food stamps or whatever it is. So, yeah.
a nice place to leave it, dude. It's a nice
Yeah.
place to leave it.
Why don't we all talk when recording is over? Okay.
Oh, now we're
Well,
in trouble.
No,
No,
you're not.
no,
in
I don't mean about
trouble.
that. I just mean not about them. I just mean if there's other stories I have to share, I will do it when the recording's done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So,
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we made it through episode number 10. Even
are we done?
Are
Are we
you in
wrapping
any?
this up?
Are we done?
I don't know.
I thought we had to be.
I don't have any place to be.
Oh, I thought you were trying to get rid of me because I made a faux pas.
No, I'm not trying to get rid of anyone. I'm just saying when the show's over, we can all have our own little discussion.
There's Brewski
Judgment
over there
Brooks.
in the corner. He's mad as hell.
Someone get me some Cheetos.
Hey, dude, relax.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's stick with the vocal minority, the comment section, because I got a comment this week that I don't know. Part of me feels slightly guilty, but not really, and that's my overall point here. So we had talked about Dubai, Nick's experiences in Dubai, and the fact that women are literally second-class citizens over there, required to cover their face. I think they can drive now, but they are second-class citizens over there, and they can be stoned to death. They can be thrown in prison. And we were talking about the differences. Nick had told a story about, not wanting to be standing next to his wife because there are, what did you call it, morality police or something there?
Yeah, there's morality police, and there's rules over there that are just, so un-American as far as like, we're free to do pretty much whatever we want. As far as like PDA and stuff goes, it doesn't fly in Dubai.
No.
Oh,
And we made we were talking about the fact that you had to minimize Rachel while you were over there, and I made a joke that did you ever tell her like maybe you two were getting in an argument and you told her respect the local customs woman, pipe down and cover your face up, and then I had made the comment that this is a good comparison that women may get made fun of in America for being a bad driver or something, but you don't get stoned to death, you don't get thrown in prison, and these
someone
are
didn't like it.
Yeah, these are the stark contrasts. So this woman commented on, this was on our YouTube page actually. She says, I am a Western woman and worked there in a girls' college. You have no idea, and in all caps, it is not funny at all. Now, first of all, I got laughs for my joke, so clearly there was something funny about it. So, fuck you. It is funny to some extent, because I got laughs out of it. But the bigger point is obviously that I was trying to make the point that obviously America is significantly better and obviously it's fucked up what goes on over there. But I reject the premise that you can't make a joke about something, that there are topics that are so forbidden that you shouldn't make a joke on. I argue that anything should be subject to joking because it mainstreams it, it normalizes it, it brings it into the conversation. And horrific things, sometimes you need to have a little levity on the situation so that you can talk about it, that you can make it human and relatable. So making a joke that America's better than them should serve your overall bigger point. The point that I was making, that of course Nick wouldn't tell his wife to pipe down and cover the face up, like obviously. was a funny joke. But don't tell me I can't make a joke about something. And don't tell me it's not funny when people laughed at what I said.
Thanks, Steve.
Thoughts, suggestions, comments?
Well,
Dude, my thought is that first of all, you get real. This is what I'm talking about. Maybe we should get Brewski on board with reading the comments, because I don't think you're a person to take these comments very well. How long did you come up with what you had to say? How long did you ponder this woman who you'll never meet?
Instantaneous response, and it's my genuine response, so it's
gut reaction
today.
Gut reaction. All right. You think that we could joke about anything?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, if it's funny, if someone laughs at it, then obviously it's joke worthy. If I said that and you both were like, "Oh, Harness, that's terrible," well, then apparently it wasn't funny, and what I said was jerkish. But I got a laugh out of it. It's on the internet. Go watch it.
Listen,
But the bigger point is that there should be no topic that you're like, no way, no how. It's like when Larry David went on Saturday Night Live and made jokes about the concentration camps. Like, if you do that joke wrong, obviously you're stepping in a major minefield. But his jokes were funny, and it spotlights the issue that obviously atrocities happen in concentration camps. But if you normalize it, if you humanize it with some level of humor, you're bringing attention to it. You're getting people to talk about it, and you're taking the stigma down a notch where people may feel comfortable talking about it.
Dude, listen, I agree with what you're saying, personally speaking. This has been brought up with like the recent comedy woes that Dave Chappelle has had with the trans community and the people did not think that was funny if they were in the trans community. And if you are a trans ally, such as me, I've been made to feel like a pile of shit if I think that what he said was funny.
Okay, first of all, not every joke is funny to everyone. All right, so
that's correct. It's your audience, right?
Yeah, but again, like, don't you want to capitalize on the fact that Chappelle brought up this issue? Say, listen, I didn't think his joke was in good taste, but he brings up a valid point. Let's dissect it. You can use comedy as an entryway to a bigger discussion. And it's so un-American to tell somebody that you cannot joke about that at all, ever. There is no scenario. Don't tell me that. I'm supposed to have freedom of speech. If my joke is tasteless and you want to cancel me, go ahead. But if it gets laughs and if it starts a conversation, the bigger point is I brought up the disparity between the United Arab Emirates and the United States of America. That's the bigger point. But you got to get so focused on, oh, don't make a joke about it, that you're ignoring my bigger point that I'm advocating for you, saying, yeah, it is fucked up what goes on over there, and look at this little comedy show talking about it.
Well, I think the problem that we run into is that too many people try to hijack the word comedy to give an excuse as to why they should be able to say awful things.
Sure.
So it's not like they really weren't trying to be funny at all. But that's an excuse for them to say, "Oh, it's just comedy. It's just comedy. I was just joking."
Sure.
And unfortunately, then what happens is that they get slumped into actual comedy, or what you were doing in this case here, Steve, where you're making that point about the UAE versus the United States. It's the hijacking of that, and we need to start. I don't know how you would police it, but I mean, say, you know what? No, you don't get to call that comedy because that's not what it was. You're just making excuses for bad behavior.
Well, it's supposed to be kind of the free market, right? People keep saying Dave Chappelle got canceled because of his trans jokes. Cancel me, please. He's making millions of dollars on Netflix deals, doing comedy tours, playing stadiums. Like, he's not been canceled by any fucking means.
He's been canceled by a certain community, maybe, by a vocal minority. What's that?
I said that probably wouldn't have liked him in the first place, but even still, it is so un-American to say that you should be banished because you made a joke I don't like.
And are we not in a world of understanding where if you actually have an issue with what I've said and you want to make me or the world around us better, why are you coming at me like that, dude? Why don't you come of a place that I may see some reason and understanding with of maybe why that was offensive to you, and maybe it wasn't as funny as I thought. Like, but not to take anything away from the joke you made, because it was hilarious.
Yeah.
But why do you got to come at me like that? I'm a pile of shit. We speak, well, for this podcast, okay, 3 hours. I sit here and talk for 3 hours. Do you think that I'm not going to say something that could be torn apart and think, oh, you're just going to take this little piece of Nick and you judge me by this? You're a fucking pile of shit. Oh, thanks. You should have listened to the other 30 hours I've talked this week. Tell me what you think.
It's the point I made about our program director earlier, who takes a 4-hour talk show and nitpicks one sentence I said. It's the issue I'm going with through exes that are taking quotes of ours out of context and saying, oh, they said this one thing, but ignoring the hundreds of other things we have said that's the opposite of what you're trying to claim I was making. And my joke about Dubai was, again, I wasn't advocating for what they're doing. My joke wasn't pro-Dubai. It was actually ripping on them.
It was joking of the absurdity of what happens.
Yes, and I'm highlighting that issue. So instead of screaming at me in all capital letters, you should thank us for opening the door, for bringing up the topic, for making it mainstream enough that this dumb little comedy podcast is talking about how fucked up it is, the way they treat women over there.
There was a little tiny person that was listening to our program that had no idea the differences in the UA and America, and now they do, dude. We were talking about it.
Yes.
Chill out, please.
The more you know.
The more you know. That's right, Brewski. Sharing is caring. That's what we've done.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steve.
Artist, you are so funny.
Yeah.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
You're doing your best.
Now, if I can, as an aside on this, those of us who know Nick's wife laugh at the possibility of Nick trying to say
sticking her on a shelf.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Oh yeah, she would not let me put baby in a corner. That's for sure.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, Nick is married to a professional arguer, a lawyer. So I have nothing but sympathy for you for what
and a veteran
must be like.
And a veteran who knows how to shoot a gun too.
Right. I think I said on the show one time before that when I was in marriage counseling, when my when my ex-wife came to me and said, I think I'm ready for divorce, we went through like a year of marriage therapy trying to save the marriage. And our therapist at one point had told me, like, my two least favorite kind of clients are lawyers and cops, because they have to be right for a living and they're just professional arguers and they always assume they're in the right and have to convince you of that. And then she looked at me and she said, I'm adding a third job category. Fucking talk show hosts are major pains too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You always got to be right.
You've got a little lawyer and cop in you, Harness. I mean, come on.
I come from a long line of lawyers.
The funny thing about Rachel is that I have to say this, and I'm not blowing smoke, is that when we first started dating, being with a lawyer was terrible in the sense of arguments. But I think over the years, and I think it's what makes her a good attorney, is that she's listening for other points and will take other points. She's not so bad to argue with because she's not all about being right. She's all about being on a fact-finding mission. And then if she could stick it to you at the end, she will. But if she can't, she'll just be like, oh, I learned a lot, so yeah, she's not too bad to argue with.
And I think you've learned a few tips over the years from Mr. Miyagi. You're the Daniel son, because you've picked up a pseudo law degree as well, I've noticed. So.
Yeah, well, yeah, listening to her a lot. Yeah, that's one thing I will tell you about lawyers. They talk about their job an awful lot. And I mean, they have to, because they're constantly like talking through shit, right?
Yes. And, it's easy to make fun of lawyers until you need one. Then they're your best friend all of a sudden.
Right. Yeah.
And I've learned that lesson many times over in my life, especially in this past year. So
yeah, sometimes you need a lawyer, and they're not easy to grab on speed dial, dude, unless you have a retainer with a lawyer. Like, it takes some time to get an attorney, and especially a good one,
Yes. And in this job shortage thing, they are difficult. I have multiple lawyers on my payroll. I've got business lawyers, I've got FCC lawyers, I have personal lawyers, I have trademark lawyers. I mean,
oh boy,
it's insanity. And like I said, it's easy to call them all, scum-sucking sharks and whatnot until you need them. And then, boy, do you need them. And boy, are they your best friends at that point. So don't be so quick to throw lawyers under the bus.
Yeah, that's great advice, Stephen.
Yes. All right.
Do you feel like you're big balling more now than ever? Because there was a time in our lives that we had hoped that, like, someday I hope to have a lawyer on the payroll.
I was gonna say, that old thing where someone was like, call my lawyer. I was like, what kind of person just has a lawyer that you can call?
Yeah.
Like, now it's which one of my lawyers do you need to call? So let's narrow it down. Yeah.
Pick a topic.
Yeah, indeed. I don't know. Speaking of lawyers, I'm tempted, Nick, to give you guys my dating life update.
Oh yeah, you should, dude.
Yeah.
Let me breeze through some of these points, all right? But just for the audience that maybe actually gives a shit, the 100 of you that are listening to this podcast, we have thousands on social media, but those are little clips. Those of you listening to this full podcast, we appreciate it, and keep spreading the good word for us. But we've talked heavily about my dating life. First of all, I would heavily encourage everyone to listen to episode number 3 repeatedly, because that is the origins of this story. Episode number 3. Oh boy, I think that deserves more downloads. As many
Bookmark
downloads
it.
as we can get. Yeah, bookmark it, share it with people. Episode 3 is just brilliant radio. So you should definitely
some of the best you'll ever hear, apparently.
If you've never heard it, you're screwing yourself out of great content. So episode number 3, share it. That's where I told the breakup story through my ex, and now I'm on to a woman I was engaged to. At least I haven't been married twice.
Yeah, that's true. You have not.
I dodged that bullet, but
got that going for you.
Yeah, so we had the dating coach on. We're getting me back in the dating world because no part of me wants to go backwards. I'm just trying to go forwards, and yeah,
how he feels from the bottom of his heart. That's how he feels. He's been trying to tell you, dude.
I can't even begin to tell you. Speaking of the weight of my words, all I have said on this show is how I want to move on. I've never once said I want to go backwards, yet somehow that's the picture some people are trying to paint out there.
That's true.
I would rather have syphilis coming out of my eyeball than go back to what I used to be with. I mean, there is no fucking scenario that is ever going to happen. So just go away.
Goodbye.
But anyway, so a couple of stories we had talked about. One, this Angelina Jolie woman came up. I'll just tell you, I don't know what happened with that. I almost wonder if I'm being catfished because this woman was insanely beautiful, and she was geotagged on the dating app to the exact neighborhood where one of my other stalkers lives. So I don't know what happened with that one, but I got excited because she was gorgeous. And then all of a sudden, we were going to go out on a date. It was like the day of, and then all of a sudden she's just like, nope, never mind. I'm moving to Afghanistan or something. Like, she just vanished on me. So no more Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, it was odd, dude. I think it was a catfish. It had to be a catfish. There was so much interest, dude. And then
she came after me.
Yes.
She sought me out on the dating app. I want to talk to you about podcasting and radio and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, just as soon as it was like, all right, let's meet tonight at 7 at this restaurant, all of a sudden, boop, gone. Okay, so I don't know what you were up to, but that Angelina Jolie's gone, so that's fine. We talked about the lawyer that I had met before COVID, and we texted, and I had always thought about her, and she was the one first date I never forgot about. Apparently, COVID did not do her right. She spent the entire pandemic alone, and she went off the deep end as well. So no more lawyer. So that one's done.
Yep.
And now, here's the deal. I've got Suicide Girl on the hook.
Suicide Blonde.
Yeah, we had talked about this crazy raving alcoholic woman who just wants to bone me.
Nice.
And, I had said if I don't have any valid second date material out there, maybe I should just go play the field. So maybe I go and meet up with Suicide Girl. Well, she's driving me fucking nuts now. I had to silence her on my phone. I got off the dating app. I met her on Bumble, and I was over Bumble. It's costing way too much, and no one valid is on there.
Yeah.
I did a little Bumble experiment. I just decided I'm going to swipe right on everybody, and let me see how many of these women reply. No one replied.
I know.
I think a lot of those are either people that never on there or their old profiles or what it is. I have no idea. But so I dropped her off. So I got rid of Bumble, but I had given Suicide Girl my phone number. Knowing that I can block her at any point.
Yeah.
Did we lose Nick? What is going on? I'm looking for feedback here.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, are you following along? Were you just taking a leak? What was happening there?
I was taking a leak, dude. I heard everything you said. I was right by you.
Can you give me a heads up? I don't know if you're frozen, if you're coming back, if you're listening. Like
I'll
just
never
killing,
be frozen.
I'm killing
listening.
time here, not knowing where you are.
I'm listening, dude.
Okay. So I have two valid women on the hook, and we'll talk about them in a second. But fucking Suicide Girl. I had convinced myself that I needed to go bang this woman and just get it out of my system, but she's driving me nuts. I had to mute her on my phone because yesterday, she just kept calling over and over at like 7 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, mute. And then she just kept calling. And so finally, I'm like, I got to block you.
What was it, Friday? During the day, she was texting you like crazy and she was wasted at noon?
Yes. Yeah. Noon on Friday, she's texting me. And I text her, I'm like, I'm at work. I'll talk to you, later. And then she texts me like, I need help. And I'm like, you know me, I'm a good guy. So I tell her, like, don't jump off the building for like 20 minutes. Can you wait? Like, I got a deadline, and I did with Nick, by the way. Like, I got to finish some stuff for him before I fucking talk to you. So I finished stuff. I call her, and she wasn't in trouble. She couldn't find the key to her house because she's drunk at noon on a Friday. And then the phone just goes dead. And I'm just like, lady, I got a job. Like, I don't know what your bullshit is. But then she vanished for 2 days because I had a notion of maybe Saturday night I'll go down and, bang this woman.
Yeah, there you go.
Please don't do it.
But I got sick on Saturday, from all this stuff I've been dealing with. So, but tomorrow is this woman's 50th birthday. And again, she doesn't look 50. She's thin, young looking, this cute blonde, but she's just mentally unbalanced. So I haven't unblocked her from my phone yet. And I know as soon as I do, I'm going to have 100 voicemails or texts waiting there. So I'm having this conundrum of, should I go down and give this woman a birthday present?
What is the conundrum, dude? Why would you welcome any of this drama that no doubt you already have and you've never met her?
I just want bang, bang, bang.
That's the conundrum.
Okay,
listen, you're too horny right now, dude.
Yes, I went from having steady, consistent, phenomenal sex to now I've just been in a total drought.
Well, but you know what?
I'm a little wound up.
But you know that the minute you bang this chick, she's going nowhere. She's going to be stuck to you like glue.
She's already going nowhere. Maybe I should bang her, so at least there's a reason for her to be glomming onto me. I haven't even met the woman, and she can't.
Yeah, but there's a different level though. I think that this is like steroid level at that point.
Look into my computer eyes, Steve, right now. I want to tell you something. Listen, I want you to know that this is the kind of woman that will somehow find a way outside your window and be waiting outside your home. If you do not contact her back quickly enough, like this woman will end up at your home unwanted. I promise you.
And boiling a bunny in your kitchen.
Quite possibly.
I know you're both right. I mean,
so what are you doing, dude? Jerk the Turk and let's move on, dude. Come on.
Just rough up the suspect and be done with that.
I need I'm craving some human contact. Now, like I said, I've got two others on the hook now.
Get a steak and warm it up in the microwave and rough up the suspect. There you go.
No, I don't need the fleshlight. I don't need any of that stuff. Like, I just... Why do so many men do this? Why can't I do it? Why can't I just go bang a woman, get it out of my system, and then block her on my phone and be done with it? Why can't I have my cake and eat it too, God damn it?
Because she knows you work at a radio station. She knows where to find you, dude.
But she's probably already going to find me. She's probably outside the door right now. Like, why not, toss a hump in her?
Dude, you know what? Just go on Tinder and ask women if they're DTF. And
they're
then
all gonna then stalk me and be crazy, right?
No, because if they're on there looking for that, then that's all they want, and then they're done.
And you don't tell them who you are. I mean, you're Rob Diablo.
I already messed up the fake name thing.
Reno,
tell your name is Stefan.
Yeah, she heard my voicemail on my phone, so she knows, where I work and everything.
Stefan.
She knows, dude, and I guarantee you, she'll be outside of your house.
Well, so what do I do then? Do I just keep her blocked and hope for the best, or do I unblock her and say, hey, listen, you're a little much for me. Why don't you get your raging alcoholism under control? And
oh, no, don't go there. Don't mention that.
Don't open a door for her, dude. We're closing a door.
But if you slam it in her face, she may boil my bunny. If I leave a crack in the door, maybe she'll not come kill me.
I don't think it's the best advice, but
you keep ghosting? Is that what your advice is?
You know what? I would tell her, Look, this is the most that we're ever going to have is we're going to communicate on the phone, and whether or not we have manipulation over the phone or not.
I don't need to communicate with her.
Okay, so why
That's
do
the
you
pain in
care
the
when
ass.
she said I need help? Why do you throw your life on pause?
Well, I didn't. I finished my logs for you, and then I called the woman that
I know,
insinuated she was on a roof. I let a suicidal woman sit on a rooftop for a half hour waiting for you.
So
That's my priorities right there.
I understand that I take priority, but I'm saying that she is obviously on your very crowded list of things to do.
I know. But again, if I'm just
Why?
going to go play the field, then why not? Thin, young, good-looking blonde. Like, why not?
Why not go over to Jeffrey Dahmer's house and we're just gonna watch a movie? We're just taking some pictures.
Why can't I love him and leave him? I mean, again, if she's going to stalk me, if she's going to be added to my ever-growing list of stalkers that can't seem to get rid of me, then at least I bang the other ones that are following me and watching me online and all that.
No,
I just have a sex-free stalker now? That seems like
I
a
know
bad deal
my
for me.
dog will eat anything. That doesn't mean I'm going to stick a steak under his nose and see if he'll eat it. Dude, I don't want you to entice her in anymore.
All right.
The hardest tattoo. You know how hard it is to wash off.
No. This woman turns 50 tomorrow.
And something tells me if you do dip your wick in that, you are going to be
Testing?
very soon, okay?
That is a problem. I know for a fact I'm disease-free right now, and I want to stay that way. So.
Well, if you do it, if you do
Brewski's
it,
leaving the door open.
I know he always is. He's a freak dude. He's wearing a Warriors vest. Listen,
Go ahead, Brewski. You've got the floor. Talk.
if you
Shut up,
do
Nick.
this, if you do this, you got to bring her a nice bottle of booze, not
You told me to buy her the
flowers.
cheap stuff.
No, not for her birthday, her 50th birthday.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm not saying
guys
doing it.
care so emphatically about this woman. You buy
No.
her nice booze and putting it on your
Yeah.
to-do list. Why?
I'm going to take her out to a nice casino, bang the living snot out of her. I'll give her the best birthday ever. And then, I don't know, maybe I call her again, maybe I don't. Like, this is my point. Am I looking for a relationship, or am I just going out to play the field? And why am I not allowed to just go play the field like so many men have? They don't seem to have moral conundrums over this.
I don't think it's you're not allowed to do that. I think that what Nick is saying is that perhaps this particular person is not somebody that you should be engaging with. That there are other candidates out there that won't boil your bunny.
Listen,
because she's
when
annoying the
Brewski
shit out of me
says,
already. Yeah, go
let's rough up the suspect, he's talking about you playing with yourself. This
I know.
woman is a suspect, a stalker, dude. She is going to find her way into your life if you give her a little taste of harness, especially just a little taste. She's going to be like, oh, I've never met a 46-year-old man who just goes and has Gatorade and hops on for another. Like, you're a
Harness.
unicorn, dude. Come on.
I am a unicorn, but
Yeah.
I don't know. All right.
Hey, listen, at the end of the day, you do what you want to do. You ask for my opinion, and
No, I am. I'm asking your opinion, and I value it. I value both of your opinions, and you're both probably right. You know, but
Well,
I don't
Brewski's
know.
telling you to hump her.
No,
You
I
said
said I said if he were to go down that road.
Yeah, but that leaves the door open. So all right.
Yeah.
I've got 24 hours.
Now, keep in mind, I have a very good friend in my life named Ken. We've been friends since we were 12 years old. And I can't tell you how many times he said to me, Jay, don't do it. And then I would do whatever he told me not to do.
Yeah.
And then after it went horribly bad, he'd say, Jay, do the words don't do it mean anything to you?
Yeah,
So maybe
I'm
you
sure
should-
there's no happy ending to the story. I mean, other than my personal happy ending on her face, there's no.
Yeah.
God, dude.
Well, if you're gonna Nick, and if you're gonna do it, you gotta do it right. None of this
Yeah.
half-ass shit. If you're gonna do it, you know what? Do the whole facial.
Yeah. You know, and by the way, just real quick about facials, I was kind of joking about that, but one of my stalkers, the crazy one on the North Shore, she asked me to do that to her, to give her a facial.
Nice.
And I told her, like, I've never done that before, like, but you're asking for it, so okay. I will tell you, I felt terrible immediately. I drenched this woman, and I was just like, let me get you a towel. Like, I am so sorry. Like, she's sitting there with her eyes closed, like, just like wet paint dripping. I'm like, I am so sorry. I know you begged for it, but this is terrible. Don't ever do that to someone. I just felt so terrible.
Listen, I don't want to sound like a maniac, and this I'm sure will make me sound like a maniac. But the deal is that I've always had, and I don't know why exactly, I've always had a hard time when I'm getting a BJ finishing in a mouth.
Like guilt-free, you have a hard time, you mean, or what?
100%. I feel like, and this is the honest God reason, I feel like it's so demeaning to the person who's getting it that I have a really hard time with it, and I don't want to be on the other end of making my partner feel demeaned in any way, even if they're not, even if we've said I don't feel demeaned. I don't feel demeaned. I have something inside of me that cannot, I just can't do it. I mean, and I have before, but I don't like it. I don't like it.
Have you ever given a facial before?
No, but obviously I've done it on Bate,
Sure.
TNA is probably the place I like to do it if I'm not going to do it, enjoy the party indoors.
Listen, as far as what you're talking about, oral, whether you finish in or out, 100% up to the woman. My ex-wife, she told me, you ever do that to me and I will punch you in the throat. So we had a very clear system of like, stop, I'm getting ready, stop. And I always respected that, and I never violated it. But my other ex loved it. So, hell yeah, I'll take advantage. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know. There are women who like it. Like I said, it's a personal thing, I guess. But
I don't want to offend them. If they tell me to finish in their mouth, I will. I mean, otherwise it's rude. Right.
I think
respect your woman's wishes.
I'm in the minority, dude. I know I'm in the minority.
Well, and you're on the vocal minority, but still, finish wherever they'd like, wherever you.
Yeah, that's the way I feel too. If they say, because I'll tell you, it's on its way.
Right.
There's a package coming, and then it's up to them at that point.
Yes, and that is how I usually do it. These last, my dating life of the last couple of years, I've told them, like, I'm getting ready. And if they keep going, well, I've warned you now.
Yeah.
So, okay, if you're not, pulling back or whatever, then I'm just going to proceed. I'm warning you. Here it comes. Like, okay. Stay there then.
I agree, dude. I agree.
Communication is the key.
Yeah, it is. You're right. Communication. I always have it.
I've got this habit, though, when it would happen, that I would yell Yahtzee.
No, you do not. That's not a real thing.
It is so.
Really?
What do you mean you'll yell Yahtzee?
The first time it happened, it was just like not even thinking about it, and for some reason that came out of my mouth, and it happened a few times.
Not come out of her mouth. Yes.
No, not at all. But after that, it just kind of got to a point where it kind of made me laugh, and it also kind of heightened the experience.
Wow.
So
that Pavlovian thing, you've connected Yahtzee to a finishing like that. So
yes,
it's connected. That's funny.
Is this something that you tell women before you're with them? Like, hey, just to let you know, I yell Yahtzee.
No.
You'll know. No, you should warn people, because I would think that'd be quite a shock, dude.
Yeah. Well, and younger women may not know what Yahtzee is, by the way.
Right. Backgammon.
Well,
you got to yell Pokemon for the younger generation.
Although I you know what though? Now I have a young lady who is actually messaged me on Tinder. She's 18 years old. Now my profile clearly says I am 51. And she's made it clear that she's not looking to get into a relationship or anything like that.
Hey, so, fucking Yahtzee, man. Go for it.
I said I might have to do the Pokemon thing, like you said.
Yeah. Pokemon, Pikachu.
Are you talking to this girl, this 18-year-old?
Yeah.
Like about comic books and shit, or are you talking about dirty things?
No, we haven't progressed so much into that.
Yeah.
All right, so you're just friends right now.
For the moment, yes.
All right. Well, you feel like it's going somewhere?
Ride that pony.
I'm hoping so.
You are. Wow.
Well, I don't want to
Steven.
date. I don't want to date her.
Stop it. You're so horny, dude. You can't see 5 feet in front of you, dude. It's just horn dog.
listen.
Consensual adult. She's 18. Like, fine.
I
I'm not doing it, but
understand, dude. I understand,
Go
but
ahead.
your mother will be watching this program.
She will.
Mrs. Harness,
Mom, my cutoff was 28, and everyone yelled at me for that. So now my cutoff's like 29 and a half.
Well, and listen, if she wants to come to stately Brewski Manor and ride the baloney pony, then I have no problem doing it.
Exactly.
That's no problem at all.
That's like women's rights and independence. If this woman wants to express herself, then go right ahead. It would be sexist to deny her the opportunity, and we're not sexist, are we, Nick?
it would be
Are you
sexist
sexist,
or would it be ageist?
No, listen. Madonna
Whatever
said.
gets the job done. I don't know.
Madonna said you girls need to, express yourself, and you don't want to let Madonna down.
Exactly.
Yeah, why would we do that, dude? I wouldn't let Madonna down.
Here's another question for you on the casualness. Brewski, tell me if this is a red flag. There's a woman I'm calling the Valley Girl. She lives down in the Valley here. She's cute blonde, girl next door type, roughly our ages, and parent and all that. But her dating profile says looking for something casual. Which Nick, I told him, and he's like, "Oh, that just means you want to start off casually. That's every relationship starts off casually." What do you interpret that to mean in the internet dating world?
I would take that to mean that she wants to bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, she's just looking for a hookup.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't get that impression off of our conversations, but that's what she said she's looking for.
But
again, you got to back up because she said looking to start as something casual. If she was just looking to bang, 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 she said, "I'm just looking casual here."
This is internet dating code. It's either looking for friendship, looking for chatting, looking for long-term relationship, or looking for something casual. Something casual means hookup only.
But I think that there's a difference between looking for something casual and looking for hookup only. Hookup only is down and dirty, come over, do what you need to do, and then leave, and we don't talk anymore. Or maybe we talk when we want to do it again. Whereas casual means, you go out, you still have a date, you go on dinner, you go do something fun together, and then the night, the little nightcap where you bang the night away, and that sort of thing. But you're still, it's a different level of things.
See, that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
Because to me, that's dating. Like, we don't live together. We go out, we see a movie, we have sex, we go our separate ways. Like, it's just a question of how casual. Is she doing it with a bunch of guys, or is she looking for one guy that we can just be quote unquote casual together? If that's the situation, fine. But if she's doing it with 20 other guys, then no, I don't want that.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't think though, even in dating though, it doesn't always mean that you have sex, because a lot of dating.
What the hell's the point then?
I get that, but Steve,
Go see a movie alone. What the hell?
There are a lot. I mean, I don't know. Not everyone wants to.
Now you're scaring me. If you're telling me she's just looking to be a friend, fuck that.
No. But a lot of women don't want to bang you on the first date.
Yeah, that's
what
fine.
I'm saying.
I won't do it on the first date. That's fine.
Yeah, that's
unless
what I'm
you're
talking
Suicide
about.
Girl, but you know what I mean. Like, if I actually respect a woman, I'll tell her like we can't do it on the first date just for the sake of it.
And
but second date, I'm all for it.
You are. Second date's good.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. Well, we're obviously interested if we're going on a second date. Let's not get caught up in some moral semantics like, oh, we can wait for the third date and then I'm not a whore. Like, we're both consenting adults here. If we're into each other, let's just do it. First date's a little skanky for both of us, but second date and on, yes, game on.
And also, I need to correct something I shared with you,
please,
probably a few shows back.
Oh.
When I talked to you about that
retraction. All right, go ahead.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. A clarification.
I just want you to know I'm sorry.
Okay.
So when I talked to you about demisexual people,
yeah,
and how they have to have a strong emotional bond to you,
yeah.
What I have actually found through reading is that demisexual people are actually on what they call the asexual spectrum.
Oh.
And asexual means that they don't want it, or they rarely want it. So what they want is they want you to be there for the hugs and the cuddling and that sort of thing, but they don't want to take care of they don't want to because they don't feel sexual attraction.
No,
They just want Yeah, exactly.
Get a
I saw a
puppy.
term the other day. If you just want companionship and cuddle, get a fucking dog.
But he said they want sex once in a while.
No, he's saying
But
they're
it's
asexual.
rare. It's very rare, Nick. It
But
says that
still,
the-
you don't want a puppy for that.
I saw a term the other day. Well, if you're in Tijuana, I guess. But I saw a term the other day. I had to Google a gray sexual. Have you
Oh
heard this
yeah,
one?
that's kind of in between.
That's another no. I looked it up, and it's basically like we can have sex, but I don't really want it. I don't need it. Like,
Yeah,
no.
exactly.
And I don't want to have sex with anyone that doesn't want to have sex with me.
Yeah, I mean it's a relationship. So
First on my rule. That's my first rule.
first we get married, then you stop having sex with me, not the other way around. Like Jesus, people. So no, that was a swipe left.
Yeah, exactly. But there are a lot of all these different terms now, and it just seems like all these the people just they don't want any intimacy at all, any physical intimacy.
Yeah.
They want buddies and friends, and I'm sorry, but I've got enough friends.
Exactly. I shouldn't have to Google what you are to determine if we can go on a date.
There's
or
a
not.
lot of new
You're on a dating
a lot of
app.
new categories, dude. A lot of new categories. I can't keep up on them all.
Go on a
but
friendship app if you just want to be friends with somebody. Go on Facebook then, not dating apps.
A meetup or something like that.
So, all right. So I got to figure out what kind of casual Valley Girl is looking for. So we'll see. We may be going out this weekend. Who knows? But
are you talking to her?
yeah, I mean, our back and forth have been somewhat limited, but you know, she's there, we chat, and then it sort of disappears, and we're there and we chat, and so. But she keeps telling me, like, you know, because I asked her out this last weekend, and she's like, I got the kids this weekend, but I promise I'm not, you know, just ghosting you here. Like, let's do it next week. So we'll see. I've learned that so many women are full of shit when it actually comes down to let's meet this day, this time. So who knows? But she's my type. She lives nearby, so we'll see. And then there's another one on the hook right now that Nick and I have dubbed Point Break.
Okay.
And she is something.
She's Tyler, dude. She's Tyler. Brewski.
She's got that look. She's got the short hair punk rock kind of chick, you know,
Oh.
tattooed up. And
Yeah, that's
I'm starting
Lori Petty. She was Tank Girl.
Yeah, there you go. I'm usually not into short hair. I find long hair just on its own to be very attractive. But I've always said, if you are a woman that can pull off short hair, you must be stunning. And let me tell you, this woman pulls off short hair. I sent Nick the picture. She's stunning, right?
Yeah, she pulls off short hair. She's a cutie. She's got pink short hair, and
Nice. I
Well,
love
she's
a
that.
little punk
in
rock
her
girl.
various pictures. Some are gray, some are pink, some are blue. Some she's goes platinum blonde, which I guess is her natural. But you know, I'm starting to wonder. Like, I've been dating professional types. You know, maybe I need a chick with some tattoos and that, you know, loves rock and roll music. And she's a big fan of like the Misfits, is like one of her favorite bands. And you know,
Nice.
she's a punk rock girl, and maybe that's what I need.
maybe what you need, dude. Maybe
So-
exactly what you're looking for.
We're having some good back and forth. She's one of these, you know, I start asking women now in these apps right away. Like, some women are like, I don't want to message. I'm not looking for a text buddy. Let's just meet for a drink and see if we spark. And
Yeah.
others are like, no, let's message for a while, see if we're compatible first. And she's that type. So we've been going back and forth. We're playing the Desert Island disc game and all that kind of stuff. And she seems pretty fucking badass. She's stunning. She, you know, takes no bullshit and calls it like it is. And so I don't know. I'm sort
I
of
think
intrigued by this one.
that would really be good for you too, Steve. 'Cause
I
I think
think yeah.
I think you would appreciate that kind of that verbal sparring.
Yes.
You
I
know
like
what
an alpha woman. You know, I always date women that are a bit of an alpha dog. And this would be a different type than I've been with before. My ex-wife was definitely an alpha dog. But, you know, she's a professional type. You know, went from school teacher to running a retail business and whatnot. And
Yeah.
my ex, you know, most recent was a corporate woman. And, you know, I don't know. Maybe I need kind of a rock and roll chick to go back to my roots. You know, I got the guitars and dirt bikes. You know, so I don't know. We'll see.
I think you do, dude. That's my opinion as of now. That on your list of people, that she's probably should be number one, and then the Valley Girl. I mean, see what happens with all of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is something a little different. Like Brewski said, I think the verbal sparring, you don't like a girl that just does everything, you know.
Yeah. I like a
This
little
just-
spice, a little
Yeah,
spunk.
you like a little spice,
Yeah.
dude. A
Yeah.
strong woman,
Yep.
has opinions,
Yeah.
has a personality. So yeah, she sounds like I mean, musically you match, right?
Yes. I mean, as Nick likes to rub in my face, one of her favorite bands is The Cure, and I'm not a big Cure fan, but I hate The Cure. I don't hate people that love The Cure. Know what I mean?
No, I get it, dude. Yeah,
Some of
you'd
my
be
favorite
hating a lot
people
of
of The
different
Cure,
people.
including Nick. So I'm not going to hold that against her. But no, her whole list of bands. I mean, she's hardcore. You know, she's a cool rock and roll chick.
Nice.
She's not going to ask me to take her to some fucking country music show. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
So if I can
And
get
then
that
not go
crap out
after
of
you
my
buy
life,
the tickets, you know.
right? Yeah.
So yeah, she's not that kind of girl.
No,
I mean,
who would
I'm
do
just saying.
something like that? Who would beg you to buy tickets to a concert and then just tell you, nah, I don't want to go?
Anyway.
Yeah. So
Not anyone you want to be with ever again.
exactly. Fuck. Enough already. So
Yeah.
So that's the update. Suicide Girl is less attractive because I do have two viable ones on the hook. I want to find out what Valley Girl's definition of casual is. And yeah, I want to see where Point Break goes because she's pretty badass. And I think we'd look good together. So
Nice.
Hey, dude, you took your year-end ride. Steve does something great, Brewski, for the beginning of the dirt biking season and the end of the dirt biking season.
Yep.
He sits up on Genoa Peak and spends a little time with himself, just kind of pondering life and where it's gone over the last year or where it may be going in the next year, right?
Yeah. So we have a 6-month off-road season up here in the mountains. I can ride year-round if I go off the mountain, but I've noticed that the season runs from June 1st to October 31st. And just by happenstance, I started to notice that my life is always completely different from one season to the next. Wherever I start the season is not where I end the season, and wherever I end the season is not where next year's season starts. I'm talking like, you know, I was married one year and then not, and then I'm single, and now I'm in a relationship. I started off this season engaged to be married, living in our new family home together, and now at the end of the season, I'm single and back in my own house. Like, life seems to dramatically change from dirt bike season to dirt bike season. So I've started this ritual of going up to the mountain peak, and I sort of reflect on where I'm at in life right now, and I start to wonder, where will I be when the next season starts up? And I sat on top of that mountain yesterday, and normally I have a pretty good vision of where I think life is going. It never happens that way, which is the point of what I'm saying here, but at least I feel like I know where life is going. But I sat up there yesterday on that mountain. I have no fucking idea where life is going. I have no idea where I'm going to be June 1st, who I'll be with, who I won't be with, where I'll be working. Like, I mean, I even wondered, will I still be on this dirt bike? Like, will I be up here next season? Like, I have no fucking idea where life is going.
Is that an uncomfortable feeling?
Yes, I always am able to plot my life and see where it's going. But what this last several years has taught me is that's a fool's errand. You may look to the stars and think you know, but the universe is laughing at you. And I'm truly curious to know where the hell I will be on June 1st. I pray to God that we are doing the show and it's taken off. I pray I could still afford to have a dirt bike and be up there. And I hope I'm with somebody special, but I have no idea. My wishes and hopes mean nothing to the universe.
That's the truth, dude. But when you analyze your life in that way, do you seek out the constants you have in your life?
Do I seek out the constants? What do you mean?
Yeah, like, I mean, when you're saying that everything changes from season to season, like your life is totally different from season to season. In that whirlwind, do you seek out what your constants are? I mean, you're looking for some constants in your life. I know you are.
Yeah.
What do you think about what the constants in your life currently are? Because some things haven't changed, right?
To some extent. I mean, you could say like my kids have been a constant, but one season I had a daughter named Haley, and the next season I had a gender neutral child named Neo. Like, so not even my constants are staying constant.
Yeah.
You know, my son has gone from being 10 years, 12-year-old. Now he's a 13-year-old teenager. And, you know, so and even my career, like I've been at the same radio station throughout all of these seasons, but boy, has the world changed within that thing.
Yeah.
I remember one year sitting going, man, I'm going to be doing summer concerts. I'm going to have Ice Cube coming this summer. How cool is that? And then by the end of the season, like those concerts were a success, but behind the scenes, it turned into a whole debacle between me and one of the entities involved in it. And, you know, my business has been just hammered from the pandemic. And so even things that have been constant in my life have gotten completely shuffled around. So I don't know where anything's going.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting thing to think about, dude. And I mean, part of it is the growth of life. You know, life is always changing and evolving or devolving. You know, it's always making some sort of changes. But
There was no vocal minority at the start of this season on June 1st. You and I had been talking about it, but it hadn't happened yet. And now here it is. And God, I pray to God that this thing just keeps growing for us. This is what we all want. And but again, I start to think, don't think that way, because the universe is going to go, let me fuck with that thing then, if that's what you want. But I don't know. People keep telling me, have a positive attitude, conceive, believe, achieve. And boy, I mean, there's something to be said for that, but it's also a lot of bullshit. You can't conceive your way into everything.
No.
You cannot conceive and manifest your way into everything. A lot of it's just hard work and grit to do your best with the situation. But even when I ask you about your constants, you immediately go to things that are not constant. I implore you to look at you got to find the things in your life that are constant. Well, now, and it could be, the relationship with your father, your mother, even the relationship with your kids that you have said that the changes, but it's evolved in many ways, right? Like with Crosby, seeing this little guy grow up into this cool young man.
Yes.
So like a lot of good.
No, it's all good. And even my daughter evolving into Neo, like, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying like it's something I didn't see coming. And it was something I thought was constant. And then somehow the world changes that for me.
Yeah, it's, you know what, the reason I bring it up is because I have a really hard time with that in my life, of looking at things I don't want things to change. Generally speaking, like, there's certain things that I want to change and grow and get bigger, like this program and stuff like that. But there's a lot of things in my life that I look forward to as just staying the same. Yeah. And I don't think overall it's a healthy way to live, but I think it stunts your growth in some aspects. You know what I mean?
In some ways. I think if you put yourself on too tight of a path, you may miss some detours that, were meant to be. But, like I thought my marriage was going to last forever. Wrong. I thought my engagement was going to lead to a marriage, and us buying a home together was going to be wrong. Like, there are often times I start the season where I'm like, I'm so lucky. Like, things are going well at the radio station. Things are going well in my love life. My kids are doing well. And then those things just are ripped away from me.
Sure.
And when it comes to my relationships, it was kind of out of my control. I mean, it was, you have other people involved. So they're the ones that yanked out the rug from you. Or you work with some business to put on concerts, and you're like, this is going to be a great relationship. I'm going to do summer concerts forever. And then they fuck you over. And now that's changed and out the window. So I don't know what to say. I don't know what my point here is, other than I guess I'm just going to keep one step forward and one foot in front of the other. And I'm curious, as everyone is, to see where the hell this show is going. I would love if I could listen to a recording of the Vocal Minority from June 1st, 2023, and know where the fuck this is all heading. But none of us get that privilege in life. So I'm going to keep focused on what I feel are the constants or the important things. And we'll see.
Yeah, just forge ahead. Go ahead, Brewski.
I think it comes down to how you react to these external things that come into your life and change the constants that Nick is speaking about. Mm-hmm. How you react to them, and do you let them hold you back? Do you let them hold you down? And if you don't, and you keep plowing forward and doing the best that you can, I think that's the best you can ask of anybody.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah,
you're probably right. And everyone knows I am plowing ahead. I mean, all of this stuff, this new house, this new show, everything I'm fighting for at the station. But there's also aspects of my life that I would like to be done with and walk away from, and they're not letting me. And I don't have control over that. If people want to threaten me with lawsuits and shit, and like, I don't have a choice. Part of being a public figure is, people get to poke at you and come at you and listen to what you're saying on your show and try to use it against you. I'm not going to stop the show, but I'm not going to let you fucking bully me either.
Yeah, you just gotta say, you know what, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and if they have a problem with it, they can keep coming at you all they want, but it's not going to stop you at all.
Yeah, well, that is what I'm doing. I just need medical issues to be resolved. I need legal issues to be resolved. I need the universe to be resolved. And dating life. I mean,
everything.
Nothing ever happens fast enough when we really want it. And for that, it seems to go in the other direction. And it seems like you could just watch the minutes ticking by. And you're getting there, dude. Watching from the outside, you're getting there. I know it doesn't happen. Steve, you like things that make you uncomfortable to get out of them at a rapid speed. And I think most people do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But from the outside, I'm seeing things change for you and happen. And from your world that you're trying to hold together, I think it can feel like it's taking a long, long time.
Yeah.
So it's happening, dude. I guarantee you it's happening. You're making some good changes, some positive changes. You're right. You need to get this health stuff figured out. I always sit on moments, and I've decided to try to get out of this life where I'm so comfortable with everything. But even with visits, you know, when I said your relationship with your mother, relationship with your father, I heard this guy talking a while back, and this is something I've always done in my head. This guy said to think about these relationships. I think I shared this with you, of like, oh, you know what? My mother, if I really think about it, I see her once a week. So breaking down the visits that you may have with your mother left by that purpose. Like, oh, I see her 4 times a month. If she lives for another year, I have 48 more visits or 52 more visits with my mother, right? And that's how my brain has become wired to think about those relationships with everything like that, to say like, I gotta go, dude. I have to go do this because I only have 48 left. I only have 47 left. And I don't know if it's a healthy way to live.
I hear you. So I should go bang Suicide Girl because there's only so many days left in this world. That's your point. And
with Suicide Girl, there's no days left, right? You already missed the boat on it. But with your important constants in life.
Oh, yes. Okay. This is, in all seriousness, part of my conundrum of like, you know, when I got divorced 3 years ago, I had a goal to put my family back together. I wanted to go find my partner, and I wanted to have a family again, husband, wife, kids. And I've missed that window, I feel now. You know, my ex fucked me out of that by just up and abandoning her new family. And so now I just start to think, like, what am I looking for? Like, do I want a steady relationship? Do I just want to date around? Like, I no longer know what I'm looking for, but I do know that I'm in the second half of my life. And I don't want to keep wasting time and wasting opportunities. And so I don't know. Am I looking for a forever person, or just, am I looking for Mrs. Right or Mrs. Right now? I really don't know.
Yeah, no, that's a good thing to ask yourself, dude, because maybe one is better than the other, and you're just going to have to try the first one, obviously, to see if that's what you're into, dude. Maybe you'll be very happy with someone
Girl.
You can just date. I'm talking about someone sane, dude.
Oh, okay, I got you.
If you
That's why
go,
I say, if Valley Girl's looking for something casual, as far as I'm going to stay with you, but we're just going to get together once a month and have a nice night. Okay, if that's your definition of casual, maybe that is what I'm looking for.
But that won't be enough for you. I mean,
But I don't know that moving somebody in and reason of getting married again, like, I don't know if that's in the cards anymore. I really don't.
Yeah, and
I told everyone 3 years ago, I'm going to get remarried. I don't know if I am now. I really don't.
And that doesn't have to be in the cards, dude. Rachel says all the time, when you and I met, I told myself and my friends all the time that I would never get married again. And then it just happens, you know. You can't make up your mind on all of this stuff, and you've got to see where your journey takes you, make the best decisions that you can possibly make, and see where your journey takes you, dude.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's my point of not knowing what to envision sitting on that mountain yesterday, that I'm just sort of handing it over to the universe. I'm going to keep doing what I think is the right thing, and I'm going to see where the path takes me. I have some hopes, but I just can't keep hanging on to hope. It's fucked me too many times.
Yeah. And you're going to let yourself down regardless, because the universe will never take you exactly where you want to go.
Yeah. But I'm curious to see where it does go.
I wish you
well.
well
At this particular
in that
point, we are north of 3 hours, so we should probably wrap up this podcast that I started 3 hours ago saying I have nothing to talk about. So let's see what happens.
Right, yeah. I think we can call episode 10 finito, dude. Brewski, turn around, do a little dance for us one more time with this vest on. Yes.
Oh, yes. Speaking of the Philly people, do a little dance for us.
Yes.
Gentlemen, congrats. We made it to double digits, you know, and I look forward to episode number 100. You know, we just got to number 10, so I can't wait to see where we're all at and what's going on. But I want to do it. I want to do it with you guys, and you know, let's see where life takes us.
Let's see where it goes, dude. We're on the journey. Let's just fucking full throttle it. Let's get this bad boy rolling.
And you in the audience, you should go to our website, thevocalminority.net. You should check us out on all the social media. And please, for the love of God, help us live this dream. Spread it around for us. If you're enjoying this, spread the word. And whoever's listening in Wichita, please contact us. This person, guys, is downloaded every episode. Their little dot is glowing bright as any other major city. Like somebody there in Wichita is listening to every ounce of this. So reach out. We want to know who you are. Seattle's getting awfully bright on that map. We're getting more clusters, same with Northern California. So just help spreading the good word for us. If you're enjoying this, find us on the socials and check out the website. So.
Yeah, we record a new episode every Monday for the most part. And then it gets uploaded on a Tuesday. So be by your downloads on Tuesday morning. We'll be there for you.
Yep, exactly. Vocalminority.net. All right, gentlemen, phenomenal as always. And until next time, peace, right?
Goodbye.